was all like piano based.
I don't know that song at all. Is that Ben Folds era?
Yes. Yeah, and Ben Folds was the hardest of the.
And they were not hard at all.
We're gonna make it. But they were, when you look back on it, being that they were a trio with like fuzz bass and a piano, that's hard to make sound hard. That's something I learned from Seth Avett. He's like, "How hard can we get without a distortion pedal?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's tricky. How do
I hate
you
it.
do
Why
that?
would you
Good
do that
question."
when a distortion just cakes it up so well?
Because Seth and Scott really are from Concord. Like,
Fucking
their grandfather was a preacher there.
Yeah.
Like that is them. They ain't faking it. That's them being them, and at least they're sweet and gracious.
No,
about it.
I saw Seth throw a hissy fit while Pat was recording their
They
first
were-
albums.
At that point, they were kids.
Nah,
and,
there's
like,
20s. But it
Well,
already
okay.
gone to their head, like his head. Scott was cool. I saw Seth show his ass on like the most
Okay.
elementary 3-chord bullshit.
I get it, and I totally get that. But remember, I've known that story since you and I were recording with Pat. So we were very young men at the time. Seth is the brother that I actually knew, that we were like plucking out chords on Union Street, sitting on the sidewalk outside Oncoming Grounds together and shit like that. Like,
I like Scott. It's cool. You can have favorite ones.
well,
It's fine.
it's not even a favorite thing. It's just like it hit a point when we were in our late 20s when the Avets were doing their thing proper.
Sure.
And when I'd run into Seth, he'd like ask about the kids and stuff.
Well,
Like,
maybe I caught him on a bad day, man. Maybe I just caught him on a bad day.
You might have caught him on a bad year.
Right.
Which either you or I could be caught in a bad year, depending on the year.
There's no bitterness over their success or jealousy. Like their music was just never what I wanted to listen to.
It's not my thing.
Not
it's
ever.
not what I do. Like I can learn lessons from what they're doing without being like.
I guess.
Seth Avett taught me how
Dude,
me what I learned
who
going
needs-
into Mr. Genius.
Who needs
which was,
fucking banjo, dude? Who needs it?
no, I agree. I
Who
agree.
needs it?
But what Seth taught me was how to be gracious. Like how to
Gracious.
remember people's names and
Oh.
shake their hands and be grateful that they came out to the
Neato.
show. And to always be that. To always be excited that people were there and be nice to them. Instead of being like, yeah, we're fucking... Cause
fuck you, I'm out.
In almost necessity days, I was like there to punk everybody. Like I didn't give a fuck.
It's so fun. It was so fun.
It was so fun, but I did need to learn a little bit of humility and to be grateful for what I got to do.
Like
you know?
performative, your level as a performer, and the attention that you grasp being the guy in the front. And I like dropping balls on everything because it felt good.
Yeah.
Like I like completely letting go of caring and playing how you wanted to play, feel it out, you know.
Absolutely.
It's good shit.
It's also that thing of like thank you for letting me be myself. Like you have to have that with the audience to get that kind of push and pull.
Well, to do that, you have to get them to like you, which at the George Washington we did. Like we won the crowd by the end of the night.
Dude, think about Little Roberts with the big band, where in the middle of the show we had Dave Hurd being like, well, I don't like this. And by the end of the show, we had like the entire stage filled with people dancing to R. Kelly, who had already been canceled.
Dude, that was the right call. I'm really proud of my song choices for that gig.
Good. So good.
Now see, I'm down to play like that. So it's like, hey, let's bring the random and shit you're not expecting. The hardcore version of Spice Girls where you like,
oh my god, so
scream
good.
it, so like so fun.
So tell me what you want, what you really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really want.
And like
so
Adam was behind the beat enough to where it's like dun dun dun. dun dun
Dun, dun,
dun dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun, dun.
dun.
So you could not get that kid to lead the
Dude,
song, but if he
no,
was
yeah,
over his head enough to just follow us, he was
yeah. Here's
fine.
okay, dude.
Like,
When you did R.
we just
Kelly,
never had a drummer who could lock in.
you got to the line where it's like, I'm gonna take my key, stick it in your ignition.
I'm gonna take it. I know. I went even harder with it.
It's so
Like,
stupid. So incredibly stupid.
and we had like people doing Snapchat because that's what they did back then. They were like taking live
Dude,
Snapchats, dancing on stage with us on
that was
that. It was so
easily
good.
our best crowd that we ever played for. Easily.
Oh, easily,
But
easily.
think about why. We gave them the right shit. At drunk hour, we gave them happy music that they knew.
Yup.
I hate a cover band. I'm not into it. I don't want to be anything like that, but being able to pull out what we did.
And dude, that's what Fish has always been able to do. They're like, we're Fish. We're going to play a 40-minute song you don't know the words to. But then they'll drop in and be like, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jay-Z. And then play 99 Problems with Jay-Z. Like,
Awesome.
they're crazy.
I dig that. Like, that's cool.
Dude, Fish just made a cameo on John Mulaney's new Netflix talk show where they weren't playing music. They did a sketch where what if Seinfeld was Fish? So John Mulaney looks through a telescope and it's just the guys from Fish dressed up as the members of the people from Seinfeld in the Seinfeld apartment. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but it's Conan O'Brien level random. Like, I love that Mulaney is still carrying the torch of, like, remember when Letterman and Conan were just absurd?
I liked it. I liked that he had, like, super large problems. Like, I like that about him.
And
I think that goes
on stage. It was like, hey, let's talk about my super large problems.
Hey, you come out the other side, and there's a thing with people revealing themselves. I noticed that in stand-up, and I can think of a couple that did it right at the end of the show, where they would say something. I'm not going to mention the names. They would say something that's just a little nugget, and if you were paying attention at the end, it's revealing yourself to people. And John Mulaney did that like very deeply, and he made it funny-ish, as funny as you can make some terrible shit like that.
I know.
But you come out on top. I
loved it. He had a whole spiel about, like, these were the people who were at my rehab, like, at my intervention. And I'm like, Nick Kroll, you smoke more weed than anyone I know.
And he's like, it's not the same thing. Well, I respect that he goes so open with it. It can also be a drag on the listener. You know? So it's like,
you gotta find that middle ground. Your job as a stand-up comedian is to be funny first of all.
Right. But you also have to be authentic and not be a liar and say it how you feel it. And you can't just... You remember Aaron Lawrence? How you described his gig as going and sadgasming in front of an audience.
I'm so proud of Aaron.
Are you?
Recently. Yeah, I still follow him on social media and track what his music is doing.
No shit.
Dude, that dude opened for me like 5-6 times.
What's he doing now?
Playing shows with a full band and playing disc golf and hanging out with the lady and stuff.
Cool.
And
good for him, man.
I'm happy for him. He's
took a lot of work.
He's living life.
That is a songwriter. He's also...
We all get to be on that arc.
He's the most insecure person that ever was. But what he would do...
You don't get up on a stage and ask people to like you unless you don't get up on a stage and ask people to like you. You play good guitar. I make you get up on a stage because I'm trying to get people to like me.
Which was life-changing. I've met somebody as arrogant as you. So I could be shy guy and grab a bass and sit in the corner and having hot school, and then there's room for cool school. So I'll just be quiet over there. Bebopping.
I love that now we're moving into the realm of let's just make records. I'm like, hey, I'll play more bass if you'll play more guitar.
That is kind of rare. I really like the idea of letting me do a structure and be like, hey, Kevin, I want you to guitar on this. I want you to make up bullhorn vocals or whatever.
You can absolutely still do that. It's just
Right.
from I have a drum machine, and if I'm trying to build a groove, I'm like, I could program a bass line, or I could just pick up
Right.
this bass and stick a mic in front
I
of
think
the
it's great.
amp and do that
I think
real
it's a great
quick.
idea, and it's bizarre that you're utilizing the onboard effects of the Tascam.
It has
So
them.
that it does.
Why
I've tested
not?
them. I've tested them. I just have
Well,
everything off board.
doing the one of these days thing, I had the choice. I was like, I could plug in the delay pedal, because the delay pedal is the last of my stomp boxes,
You
because I
put that
bought a weird
on the
Chinese one
bass.
back in the day.
On the bass.
No,
No, through
I
the
decided
Tascam.
against it. I used the Tascam's
Because it ping
delay.
pong. Yeah.
And I wanted to expand the bass into stereo because it was going to be driving the bus.
Right. Yeah.
It's when I actually recorded the bass, all the drum parts were playing all the way throughout. The bass, the snare, all of it. When I went back to do the mix down, I pulled in and out based on where the bass guitar was latching in.
I see what you're doing.
I'm fucking Alan Parsons in this shit. I'm
Big
doing
name.
The old school shit.
Bold statement.
No,
hey, either way.
Saying, I just watched Alan Parsons give an interview where it was like, I was working on a Pink Floyd record, and I told the engineer, don't use compression on the vocals. And he was like, all right, well, I'm going to use compression on everything else, and I hate compression. I love compression.
I kind of hate I kind of hate compression myself. If we're being honest.
It's how you make them kick.
Okay. Your bass drum, I absolutely agree. Like you actually get kick out of your bass, and that's something that I don't.
I still need to kick my volume up a little bit more. I'm being a little too shy with my drum machine. I'm still working out the way this thing makes it
how to use all that shit. Yeah, it's a cool feeling. I still have so much to learn.
I've got my kick, my snare, and everything else on the drum machine are on 3 separate channels. So I can EQ them and affect them separately, which is the shit that the
it's taking up so many channels, though. It's taking up so many channels.
Well, the drums are important.
Yeah.
If the drums sound bad, then everything sounds bad.
I watch guys on YouTube, and they would use like a sub mixer before it hits the Tascam. So they would have their drums on a little tiny mixer, like 4 channels, and then they would have the ability to EQ, pan, do all those things, and then they had the output of that going into a stereo setup in the Tascam, which is great that you can do that.
I'm also coming out of an analog monophonic drum machine.
Monophonic? No shit.
Yeah,
no shit.
It comes out mono. It's a 909. It's
no
classic.
Shit.
But
you send it to a reverb. Yeah.
You have to. You got to send it through a reverb, a chorus, a delay, everything else in the free world. That's how you make it. That's how Trent Reznor did it. That's how Madonna did it. And it worked pretty well for them. So,
hey man, there's no wrong answer. Not really.
And that's what I love about going back to this gear is like I spent months. It's why I love bad gear most of all is because that guy's like everything about this sucks. Now watch me make it sound awesome.
Yeah.
And he's like
he did
nice.
He did one with the
that guy.
Korg Minilog XD, which is like I love that thing, and it's more of like irony, I think.
Yeah.
Because the entire comment section is like, hey, this is my favorite synth. I have other ones collecting dust, but this is the one I like.
And he totally gets that because he's like,
it's just irony.
There are 2 things he says all the time that I love, and the first one is not bad, and the second one is nice. And like that's the thing is like that's how synth gear works. Like if it makes sounds that are not bad and nice, then you've got shit to work with.
Dude, the promo for that Castle Ward like is so fucking silly. It's the 2 developers and this guy's chasing Elf with a lute, and it goes into this crazy thing. It's like a solid 2 minutes of just video. And then he teleports into this place where the machine is on the table, and then the 2 of them start making music. And it looks like a fun toy, especially for under 200, but it's a noisemaker.
Yeah. I'm doing a job transition. I have no money
No,
left.
I
My
got
gear
you.
is set in stone. I still need to spend about $325 on my guitar rig because I need $300 pedals and 2 guitar cables
Right.
because I cannibalized my guitar cables to put together my digital
Oh, sure.
rig.
You can get those on Amazon in packages cheap, like 6-packs, stuff like that. Those are really good either.
That's how I got all the patch cables for my synths because, quite frankly, Sweetwater takes you forever to send you a wire. If you buy a box from them, they'll send it quick. If you buy like a couple wires from them, they'll send it via the common mail.
You don't even get some candy
forever.
with it. They actually take candy from you. You just get a piece of coal,
brutal.
a little dried dog turd in there.
Yep. And then fucking George, my rep, calls me up and is like, "Hey, how are those cables working out for you?" Dude, I ordered my Arturia, and he sent me a text. It was like, and it said, "New keys, nice." And I wanted to hit him back and be like, "Look, I'm trying to wean myself off the smack."
Dude, they do it. They do it to me. They'll call, they'll email. My guy's name is Luis. He's this dude with a fro. He's super nice, but he sees what I buy and how much. And you're right, dude. They will pester you like an ex-girlfriend.
Oh, my boy George is an Asian dude with a fucking like weird half-groaning goatee and a man bun.
They have their faces on every email. It's like a big fucking picture of this guy's face. It's like, hey man,
he looks like. I
don't want this to be personal. Like I want these items.
I'm seeing him making assumptions about me that are wrong. Because like I'm buying all this synth gear, and he's like, "Oh, what you need is some DJ mixers," and I'm like, "No, motherfucker. What I need next is 2 Ibanez Tube Screamers."
Be like, "Have you heard my first album? What do you think about this, George? Don't you know me by now? After everything we've been through? Hey, can I crash on your couch?" Like, and start going great. Start texting him, and be like, "Hey, George, man, this is tough. Can you cash at me $20? I'm on the streets."
There's this thing going on with YouTube right now where my YouTube algorithm, because I watch too much YouTube, is completely confused about who I am.
You think it is?
Because
maybe you're confused about who you are, Kevin.
No,
maybe you are confused.
Because what happened was my TV on my YouTube profile used to be Adrian and I. So it adjusted to what both of us called up on the big TV in the living room on YouTube. Because Adrian would hang out in here and watch cooking stuff. And
hey man, are you gonna get sad drunk, buddy?
No. I'm not being. No, this is where it gets funny.
Okay.
And then she died.
All right. Uplifting, man.
So then I got way into racing race cars for a while there and started watching all this automotive shit and how the cars work. And they're like, okay, this guy is like a gearhead and a car guy. We get this. We get what he's in on.
So they fed you cars.
And I was watching a lot of political shit because politics was getting weird.
You don't say.
But it was always comedy-based stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, one day, I just woke up and was like, yeah, I'm done racing cars, and I don't give a shit really what they're doing in politics, because I live in Boston, so I'm insulated. So I'm going to go back to making jams and just thinking about,
it was a smart move.
Funny stuff.
That's what you should be doing. Yeah.
And so, at one point, YouTube gave me 3 surveys in a row where they were like, does a woman live in your house?
No way.
Because it had been like a year and change, and they were like, is
there
a woman watching this? And they were also like, wait a minute, how much money do you make? Because YouTube knows that I've been buying a bunch of synth gear because all that information is...
Dude, like if I look at something on the
you just
internet...
got health insurance and bought $3,000 worth of electronics. Like, what the fuck is going on with you?
Dude, if I look at something on the internet, I get an email that says, hey, we've got a great deal on this thing if you buy it this way. Like, we can get you X dollars off.
all YouTube is advertising to me now is synths and expensive watches and expensive cars. It's fucking weird, and I'm like, I'm not gonna buy any of this stuff, like, because they're not actually advertising synths. They're advertising VSTs and subscription services.
Yeah.
And you know, homie, don't play that.
Nah,
like,
we're old school.
I didn't spend $3,000 worth of gear to, like, I took my Akai offline so it would stop prompting me to upgrade the firmware.
No shit.
I'm like, no, I already know how this thing works. I like its presets. I don't need anything else from you.
Right. Hey, let me get in. I saw a video where it was talking about what you can do with the Akai's auto sample, to where like you can actually build whole instruments instead of having to record each note. Let's say you have a guitar. Some samplers you would have to tediously go through so you get all the octaves, all the scales. Yeah. This thing will do it for you through MIDI.
Oh, I know.
And the guy was explaining it, and it made sense. And I was like, that's the machine does stuff like that, but I don't fuck with it.
When I got the Moog, I was like, I typed into YouTube, how do I pair my Akai to my Moog? And I called up the video, and the guy was like, here's what you do. You play one note, sample it, assign it to a key group, and now you've sampled all those notes.
Now you have that in your Akai. Now you have that in your Moog. So you have the Moog inside the Akai. So,
and you know what my response to that was?
Fuck that.
I looked at that and I was like, fuck that. I'm going to buy a different keyboard to run the Moog and spend $200 on a MIDI controller whose only job is to control the Moog.
Because you don't want to cheat. You don't want to cheat.
I'm not cheating. That's not what I do. I'm punk rock. I'm hardcore. Like, I bought the Moog so it'll make cool sounds I can barely control. And it will glitch out if I roll a knob outside of its sweet spot. And it'll like, it's when you were like, hey man, where'd you get that modulated drum? I'm like, that ain't even the drum.
Yeah, that's you had a frequency. Moog. You had a frequency running up and down like in rhythmic.
And it wasn't in rhythmic. I was playing it on the keyboard live. But if I held the note down, then it would lock into the CV gate coming out, or the gate coming out of the, I'm sorry, neither CV nor gate. The clock in, as sync in, out. Mini plug to mini plug, mono. Right. So the drum machine controls the internal. It's a whole can of worms, and depending on where I move the wires on the Moog module, I can make it control different things with that clock out.
That's cool.
And I can barely control it. Cool. If I was asked to do it live tomorrow, I can't reproduce any of it.
How much time have you put into the device? How much time have you spent with it? Learning it?
Very little, because it's a very, very simple thing, and it works better random.
I've got guitar pedals like that. Like, I have some stuff that I still don't quite know how it works.
I just need to. Well, that's the weird thing is when it comes to the Moog, I understand it fundamentally. Like, I know exactly. Okay, it's plus or minus 12 volts, and each volt is an octave. So
no shit. It drops like that. So it'll be like 6 volts. A, B, C, D, A sharp,
full octave.
C,
no,
C sharp.
No, full octave. It'll go C1, C2, C3, C4.
Each volt is an entire octave.
Each volt is an entire octave, and the variation therein. And your sync voltage is 5 volts. It's pulsing at 5 volts to control the next thing down the line.
Got you.
And once I figured that out, I was like, oh, this is funny as shit. Because, like, if I plug the sync out into the LFO, then that's controlling the wobble.
It's funny.
How fast is it wobbling, and will it wobble in time?
It's funny how different paths we took, but it all leads to the same shit.
Oh, because we're the kind of guys we are. I wouldn't. My life wouldn't exist without you in a couple of key ways. Like, you were instrumental to who I became in the ways in which I am best. Like,
think so?
I have to tell you, yeah. Like, number one, you gave me low voltage.
Yeah.
You were
Well,
like, hey, here's the thing you
it was
would be
something.
good at.
Yeah, so I knew you could do it. We also had a lot of dick times. Do you remember that? Like, we had a lot of times where we were like ready to kill each other.
We did, but we also had like brutal, amazing times that no
Yeah.
one else.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck were you and I doing at the Radisson in Dallas? Like,
Hey,
what were we doing
What were
there?
we doing on Union Street in the very beginning? Like,
I'm saying,
what?
and
How did that
that's
happen? How did it
and,
happen?
and that's what I love is that you're part of my tale, dude. You remember when I was tired of fucking with halfwits to get weed in Texas and was
Yeah.
you remember how every time you have ever been like you and I have ever
Durham.
been like, hey, we need some weed, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I can do that.
I
Not even Durham, Chapel Hill,
I
Franklin
learned,
Street.
yeah, Franklin Street. I learned that about you, and I also learned how to utilize it, which is
Yeah.
weird. Like, creatively, you drive the car. When it came to work, I drove because I had the experience on it.
Yeah, now it became a different thing because
Well, you're
like
talking about 10 years now, right?
15,
15.
closer to 15.
For low volt? No way.
Yeah, when you
Nah, not
first
for
started
you.
calling me in to help you out on stuff, it was like late 2010, early 2015, or
No, no way.
2011. We did Walmarts in summer of 2011.
With Craig? No shit.
Yep.
All right. That was a long time.
It's been a while, and now it's this thing where
Do you
like,
remember that shit show? Oh my god.
yeah, it was great.
Dude, you smoked out that hotel room so incredibly, like brazenly.
Fuck yeah.
And the
It was a
lady
good
came
time.
by to clean, and she's like, "Y'all got it smelling good in here."
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we
Yes,
do.
ma'am.
You
And
want to hit this?
I was just eating cherries and throwing the fucking pits all over the room. Like fucking baskets full of cherries.
Dude, nights where it's like, how did we get home?
Yeah.
Nights where we had to go back in
Hey,
drunk and
do you remember-
miracles.
Do you remember
Like,
when the guy ripped you off for like a little bit of weed, and I passed out, and I wake up to you leaving like Liam Neeson level death threats to this guy's fucking voicemail. It's like, you don't know who you just fucked with.
Look, you don't know who I am, but I have a very
Dude.
particular set of
Dude,
skills.
like drunk and on a hardcore level, like Oscar worthy.
You remember that time that we like talked to a congressional aide? Like we got the number off of Comedy Central, and then later I went out on a date with that girl.
I still don't believe that happened.
No,
Like,
it's true.
it's possible.
It was Drew Arrowwood's like niece-in-law.
Drew
is how that
Arrowwood.
ended up happening.
I haven't heard that guy's name in a long time.
And nor should you. He's fucking like. It's so funny. He's still in my Facebook feed, and it's really funny watching like.
Do you still
the
fuck with
guys
Facebook?
Who are rich. I'm on
Family.
synth memes now and
Okay.
family.
Yeah.
And honestly, what I like about Facebook is I've weeded it out to the point where it's kind of just people I like posting their wins. And like, I like it when the blonde Taraj from O'Charlie's has like gotten married and had a couple more kids and are living a life that makes them happy. Like that makes me feel good.
You know that life isn't as good as they project. Like, that's a
Of
key
course, I read
ingredient.
between the lines, but I also know that Kevin Morgan's wife got religious as fuck somewhere along the line to the point where I'm like, oh, K Morg, like
Hey,
you're over
I'm
the
happy.
fold, like you're never coming back.
I'm happy that he's happy.
Right? He's not. I've seen the
Okay.
pictures.
You can tell by his face.
So I went through this on one weekend. I called you up, Alan up, and DJ up, and I was like, hey,
DJ Holmes. It's really cool you can still be friends with him after what happened between him and Erica.
I know DJ and I know Erica, and like Erica put me through some fucking changes.
She would do
DJ
that
is
on purpose.
Weaker than me.
He
Like
just gets
I'll
it.
never forget James McKeel's for that. I'll never forgive him for that because he also has that level of evil in him where
You
he's
had
like,
some evil.
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I know what that is
You
because
have
I
brushes
have
with evil.
that in me. I
We
try
all do.
not to be
Yeah,
that guy.
we all do. definitely
That's
do.
not how DJ got wrapped up in that. DJ got wrapped up in that because, like,
She threw herself
DJ
at
has
him.
never had a successful relationship. He will never have a girlfriend. He's still bartending. He has a great credit score, drives a new car, lives with his mom and pays the rent in Georgia, and like he's never gonna figure that shit out because he's short and he has low self-esteem based on it. It's the whole thing. I don't know. You and I are tall guys. Like that doesn't enter into the picture. We're like, sorry, short king.
I've really got into Nietzsche to where it's just like pure disconnection. But I realize you can
But
go so far that that's no good for anybody.
you also have to remember that, like, Nietzsche is funny, and it's really easy to read him without a sense of humor.
Super lighthearted.
Because that's how most of the old translations of Nietzsche came out, because they were weird translations. The Third Reich got in there and cut out some stuff to make it
so?
support. We know so.
Okay.
Historically, we know so. If you read newer translations of Nietzsche, they're like, hey, here's the catalog of how this broke down and why we're retranslating it from the original text. And when you reread it with the humor in it, it's like reading the first few books of the Old Testament where you're like, oh, Bible's got jokes. Like, the Hebrews are funny. Like,
They definitely are. I don't Bible has jokes.
well, it's all subjective. It's being translated down, you know?
Yeah.
So that task cam that you have in your house, that I have in my house, is probably the most powerful recording device I've ever had at my disposal.
Isn't it fucking cool?
You need to tap into it and appreciate the old school Pink Floyd vibes of how it works.
I just don't, I haven't had any writing in me. I got fuck off in me for days. Like, I got fuck off.
Yeah, but if I'm shipping you tracks, that's how you loop it and do the thing over there. At some point, when I sit down and lay down a track, that's me being like, okay, I've done the fuck off part. Now it's time for me to do the work to make it a thing.
Your meat and potatoes, I just go for dessert. And that's why my shit sucks.
No, man. You spend so many more hours back in the day in the woodshed getting clever when I wasn't.
Yeah. But you were gigging.
I'm writing poetry.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time with guitar. I got a lot of miles.
So
sure.
It's time to fold the composition technique back into the folds.
I'm scale stuck really bad, and that's why it's easier when you drive, because you will clash chords and move stuff around in a way that I don't think about.
I build up the thing to have the tension and release that a song should have.
I'm just neglectful of it because I'm in the details, you know.
Okay, well, it's because what you're really turned on by and vibing out by is just the, like, let my fingers make this noise.
Yeah.
Like,
and it can be really cool. You can have moments that are like, whoa, that was really cool, but on the whole, it's kind of a stagnant thing. So with you driving, then it lets me just compliment and not be right in the front, you know.
It's like as I've ever done, I'm really just trying to like make something that will persevere, like make something that people 20 years from now will still want to clue in and be like, oh, this speaks to me, you know.
There's so much out there, and there's so much amazing stuff that I just want to go as pure as I can. And if it sucks, it sucks. I'm fine with that. I just I don't want to picture a life where I don't want to do it, and I'm given up and defeated.
Well, I'm not like and that's kind of it, because I had given up for a while there, where I was like, there is no point in me doing this.
You really did, yeah.
And I
fucking
the fucking RZA reminded me. He was like, "No, dog, you gotta bring together the Shaolin and the Wu-Tang and like." You gotta do the thing. You gotta put in the work and have a vision. And I was like, yeah, that's what I've always done.
That spoke to your heart. So do you think Ulysses Jones' character is racist?
Yeah, I do. I do. I don't necessarily think it should go on. Like, I
Okay.
don't think it's. I like the
But
name.
there's
Name
also
works, but
like love and respect for the slang, for the culture. There's
yeah,
like something real in there to where there's not a drop of hate in it.
no,
It's just you. It seems like to me it's you doing an impression of a white guy that wants to sound black, as opposed to
yes,
actually being a white guy that wants to sound black.
exactly,
It sounds like
exactly.
this is your impression of what's around you, and I know you, and I can see it that way. But a stranger probably wouldn't. They would
Might
probably
not. I would have to answer questions, and I think
right.
I could. I think I could justify it, but I also don't
It would
think
take a
it's worth.
conversation. Like it would take
Yeah,
it would take a whole thing, and nobody's got time to invest in why. Like nobody
I'd
fucking cares.
rather like I don't need a character to be authentic.
Right.
Like I can just speak to my own voice, you
But
know.
you, there's things that you shouldn't need to say. It should be felt.
Yeah,
And I know that in your heart you believe that equality is one of those things. How you treat
I
people,
agree.
how you deal
Yep.
with people.
Yep.
And to me, that character is more of you doing an impression of what it was like to be in jail for a year.
100%. Lascivious Jones is the pod at Rowan County.
Right.
Like,
Hey, yo,
it's
block.
how I talked when I was in there. It was how
And it
everyone
was
around
normal.
me talked, and
It
it
was
was the
normal.
language.
Yeah.
Like it was normal, and it's why I still like it really tripped up ESCS when I'd
I
walk
bet.
in there and be like, "What's good, player?"
What's up, player? I bet it did.
And
People's.
what I loved was the young Dominican dudes fucking love it. Like they were
Hmm.
like, "Oh, you're real as shit," and I was like,
Real.
"Yeah, man, I've been places. I've
Do you
seen
think?
some shit.
Do
Let's
you think
roll."
like a random audience member wouldn't know that about you or see it? They would just see a guy making
I
a real ass out of himself.
exactly. Like, I don't want to do that on a stage in front of people. I'd
Mm.
rather just be like, because you've been on stage with me for a really long time. You know,
Yeah.
when I have a microphone in front of
Well,
me,
hey,
I'm the
hey,
most Kevin
you don't give a
Gerard
shit,
I
and
could
that's what I
ever
love about
be.
you.
Yeah.
But I put that on YouTube,
Mm.
and I had a stalker situation. So you have no idea how many people that went out to.
Well,
I thought it was funny because I
we
know
got
you.
156
It
views.
was nothing. No, but like,
No comments. It
yeah,
was
yeah, it was nothing.
here's where I'd put my mixer if I had one video got
All
way
right,
more
because it was just you.
attention.
It was just you being nice, being your friendly self.
Yeah.
So I know that character. Other people don't know it. It's
Mm.
probably not a good way to go.
No,
I think it's funny. I do, but it's
it was
also
hilarious when we concocted how
because
that worked, you
it
know?
was so cringe, and
Yeah.
like it's almost the point of it, but you can't really explain that highbrow shit to these mongoloids, like
No.
to these knuckle draggers and reactionary fuckers. You can't
I
explain it.
know. Honestly, that's not even what I'm trying to do.
No,
Like, you
you
know,
seem
it's
happy. Like you seem like a happy person when you're in character doing that. You seem really
well, it's
upbeat.
because Lascivious Jones is enthusiastic by
As
nature.
fuck.
You have to be going as hard as you possibly can. I got worn out in that video. I realized how old I was when I hit like minute 4 and was like, look, can we just get through the rest of this explainer? I'm not sure that I've got
Dude,
that much
do you
left in
remember?
me.
Do you remember when you did Shirthead's Home Life? It's like
Yeah.
you burned calories with that character.
Dude, that's why the nap time came early for Kevin that day.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's why.
Hey,
That's a lot of
you
energy to
know
uphold.
we're both completely retarded, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that.
You
We
know the
should
rest of the world is worse. Like we're kind of on the upper
quizás,
percentage.
talvez, a lo mejor, possibly. Like they possibly are, but we're a special kind of stupid.
Well, it was that thing where like it's how I got to engage with public school between 2 different states and
Damn,
a
we were
lot of
going way back.
nationally like standardized tests. Like
Uh,
fucking, they
That's
made
how
me take the
Lascivious Jones.
SATs.
That's how Lascivious Jones was born.
Kind of, sort of, because they came through with the SATs and they were like, apparently, if you're in a room full of 100 people, you're smarter than 99 of them.
That did shit
And
for
I'm
your
like,
ego.
yeah, that tracks.
Yeah,
Well,
I've always been that.
not really.
You know
So
what's funny is how different we are. Like how different
when
stories we
Adrian and
have.
I moved back up to Massachusetts,
Are you getting sad drunk? Is this sad
no,
drunk?
not at all, not
All right.
at all.
All right.
I hit up like my very first best friend, this dude James Murphy from Hudson. We were like kindergarten best friends.
Buddies,
Like
old.
we go
Yeah.
elementary school.
What was up
all
with
the
old
way
James?
Up through, like,
How's
freshman
he
year.
doing? How's James?
Well, he came out as gay about
Okay.
like 6 or 7 years ago, which
Hey, I had a
came
guy.
as no surprise to me.
I had a
because,
guy,
like,
Jason Mills. Same story. He and I had a bunch of fun. Did acid. Did all kinds of crazy shit.
was that the I'm not entirely straight? I'm
No,
not
that's a
entirely
different.
surprised guy?
That was a different Jason. That was a funny
I still
story.
love that line.
Dude, to where
It's
like
such a
we're
good line.
all on ecstasy, sitting in this guy's like house apartment duplex, and he's got these lights going, and it's dim, and like the music gets quiet, and Jason leans in and says, "Justin, like in front of people, loudly enough to where they're all listening." He says, "I'm not entirely straight." And like the room got so quiet, like you could hear a pin drop. And I was on ecstasy, and I looked back at it. I was like, Jason, man, I'm not entirely surprised.
But the room fell out.
Two of the people started laughing, and the other two didn't because they wanted some ecstasy kind of orgy-ish thing going on. That was the vibe in the room.
They were hoping it was going to go that way.
It's 2 girls and 4 dudes.
That
and
was like,
I just had to.
so
it was
good.
the perfect place for the joke, you know.
Yo.
It was like almost you had to say it, but it was the delivery to match his inflection. So.
I was in a room tripping acid with fucking like Jason Burris and the dude who had brought the acid, and there was like a room full of underage girls, and they were all very fly.
Scary.
But they were all teenage girls, and at this point I was
Terrible.
already like married, and my marriage was falling apart, which was the only reason why when Jason Burris
You were there with
it was
acid?
like, hey, I didn't know he had the acid.
Right.
I know all the acid I told you I got from him.
Yeah,
like,
I still have
oh
some
my
of
God.
that. I kept it in a container.
It took Adrian to be like, hey, your boy Jason is weird, and you should start putting up some distance. That I was like, you know, you're not wrong.
Do you remember when he
like,
sold us crushed up Ritalin like it was Molly?
You were the one who. That was actually when I stopped buying stuff from him. Was okay. So you want to get a little weird with it? It was Adrian's birthday weekend, and we went out hiking and had bought a bunch of Molly and fucking doses from Burris. And the doses were fine. They were good. The acid worked great. But if you think you're getting Molly and instead you're snorting Ritalin, then your dick isn't going to work. Adderall.
Yeah.
Same diff.
It can, probably not with acid. Like, you can, but it has to be kind of the only thing you're doing.
But if you mix Molly and acid, your dick's gonna work just fine. Like,
so you guys are in the woods and like you can't get out.
Well, no, we were back in a hotel room by the end of all that, and it was great. It was we still had
whatever's
good time.
man. Yeah, man, I feel you.
But what I'm saying is, I came back from that weekend fully satisfied, and so was my lady. But I came back from that weekend being like, that was weird. And I had sold you some of that Molly, and you were like, hey, man, that Molly is Adderall. And I was like, oh, shit, that's what just happened to me.
Yeah,
God
where it's like, of the people that would know, this is the one. Like, this is the guy that would be able to tell you.
Absolutely no.
He would know. Dude, I got so bad on that shit. Like,
yeah,
I did.
I grew up on that shit, too.
Well,
it's
like,
just,
I grew up on it, but partying on it, like taking crazy high dosages. That shit got ugly. When you're staying awake for 3 and 4 days, it's like, shit gets ugly. So
well,
I don't fuck with it.
That without chemicals for a long time. I was just
you
like,
just naturally,
I'm just trying
you have
to
such high anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a manic person.
That's why indica works better for me than Adderall to treat my ADHD.
You think so?
I know so.
Okay.
I live in a land where I can buy indica.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
I know. I'm not getting state supremacy or anything on it. I'm just saying.
State supremacy.
I'm glad I live in a place where like weed is cheap and legal.
Hey, did you see at the Easter thing? Donald Trump said he's bringing religion back. It's
Yeah,
like,
I know. That's
you
hilarious.
other heathens don't know how to act. Right? The dirtball of dirtball. Here's the trick. Let me finish.
I know.
Let me finish.
Also, like, I
Let
should
me
be
finish.
the Pope now.
Yeah, right. Let me finish. So it's like, he had, whether it was real or it was staged, I don't believe anything in the world, he had a near-death experience with an assassin. So he has the perfect opportunity to be like, look, I'm really thinking about life now. There is some real shit. The man upstairs is true. We have to bulldoze Palestine immediately. Like, so he comes out.
Yeah.
He comes out with this. All right, I'm close to God now because of this event. If that event were staged, it'd be the perfect turning point to grasp his root base, who are the religious. Gun lovers,
weird religious,
right?
A very particular kind of religious.
If you look at it backwards, where it's like we could only get to here because of there.
Yeah.
So you think of it as a steer, like, all right, I want people's perception to be this, so I need this to happen. I'm not saying it was staged. I heard a lot of people saying it was. I'm not sure. Either way. It feels like a plan, like some shit unfolding.
Oh, it's nefarious as shit. Yeah, it's gonna get weird. It's gonna get weird.
How weird are we talking, man? I just got guitar pedals. I want to play with them.
I'm saying, Justin, you're very Nordic in appearance. I'm
gonna be okay.
If you need to snake your way through to get back up here, then you can help us defend the Republic of New England until it's time to defend the Republic of Quebec because we have fallen. Like, it's fine.
But fallen to who? These people aren't organized. They're not. They're button pushers.
Bad at it.
They clap. Like, they're clappers, man.
I gotta tell you, like, okay, so I'm local to Boston.
We know.
So the fact that I know, right?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Boy, howdy, do I love being home.
Yeah.
No
right,
one
so
in
you're
Boston
local.
Says, boy, howdy.
No, they don't.
They don't.
Yeah.
But,
all right, so you're there.
When Donald Trump picked a fight with Harvard University, all of Boston simultaneously started laughing their asses off. Because they were like, hey man, do you know where all of history's best war criminals for the last 400 years graduated from? We're better at this than you.
Ooh.
Pick a fight with us.
That's an interesting angle. That's an interesting angle you see it through. Yeah.
Because, like, he's picking a fight with Harvard and MIT, and we're like, we invent all your weapons.
You know what's weird?
All of them.
They want to do away with the DEI, but they also want hardcore anti-Semitism in place. Like maybe not to an extremist level, but it's mentioned in the notes of what they want. So it's like get rid of diversity, essentially. Make it stronger for people to not speak against
anything
Israel.
Other than English or be white. Like, you gotta be
white. No, I don't even think it's
Israel,
that.
And you gotta love Jesus.
That feels weird that you have these two clauses in your list of demands for educating our people, I suppose, like where people go to learn. But you want these two things, which almost contradict each other.
Yeah. They absolutely do.
Such a weird thing, man.
It's not when you look at it historically and you realize that, like, the ghouls that are actually running shit right now are actually just kind of straight up reading from, like, what Mussolini did. They're like, oh, this is how you do a thing. And you're like, that didn't work out well for Mussolini. Benito ended up hung by his ankles. Like, that was a weird thing. Like, you don't want this. Like,
It's another good
and
perspective, but it also, again, coming back to it, feels like a story unfolding. Like it has
half the
unfold this
reason
way.
half the reason I've been able to relax and trust fall, like do the Assassin's Creed leap, like just kind of put my arms out and fall backwards off the building into what all this
Yeah.
is because of this fact. Like, I've been calling for a revolution since I was 16 years old, since I didn't even know what it was. And
Hey,
if there's anything I've learned as an old man, it's this. It's that, like, real meaningful change does not happen unless you tighten the screws so hard that people fuck all your shit up over it. So now I'm like, okay, tighten the screws. Let's see.
they're
Let's
doing
find
it.
a place.
They actually are. Hey, when I went to
And
visit Seattle, it was such a culture shock because, like, the alleyway where everybody puts bubble gum, so there's like
I love that. I've seen that. Yeah.
murals of the Luigi guy from the killing of the United Healthcare CEO, and there's all these mockery pictures of Trump. It was like the opposite of what here is.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. I mean, it's wonderful. It was wonderful in a way. The homeless was also out of control.
Yup.
And it was weird to see the other side when I live in this.
I will point out that when I left, Charlotte had a tent city.
Oh, yeah?
That is equal to anything I've seen out of the homeless population in Boston.
That was post-COVID, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugly, man. Ugly world. Should we be grateful that we are healthy, able human beings with skills and employment, or should we feel good because we're white and life is going to be better to us? So it's like, have we done work to earn our security, or is it just we can cruise because we're white and things will go our way?
Okay. Well,
what do you think it is?
Here's what I'm going to realistically say about that. We never say anything on open channels because there will come a time in our lifetime where OPSEC is everything.
1984?
No, OPSEC is it's modern military, it's real terms. It's the same way that we used to say, like, this should be panned, or that tracks, or how all the lingo crosses from all the things that we love.
Do you think we'll get there?
I think there will come a time when an older state of what it means to be an American is going to come into play, and I'm glad I live in a place that is.
What do you mean by older? What do you mean by older?
So, if you actually go back to, like, how did a United States happen? Like, how did a Revolutionary War happen? How did the War of 1812 happen? Like, how did the United States get to be a country to begin with? There are certain things that, like, aren't written in the Constitution, but all the guys who wrote the Constitution were writing letters back and forth to each other, like really long Kevin in the Jailhouse style letters back and forth.
Yeah, we had some letters.
You and I, dude, your letters kept me going.
It was good to write them because I was also in a crazy spot. And
you sure as fuck were, dude.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Like,
I was in a crazy spot. But I came out of it with Monster.
You sent me a picture. You sent me, like, a printout, like a proper, like, you have to print out a photo to send it to jail. You can't just email it. Yeah. And it was your rig.
No, that was Alan Parsons.
No, there were two photos in that envelope. One was Alan Parsons in the helmet, in black and white, and it was beautiful. Yeah. And the other was your rig, and on the back of that postcard it said, "This is what awaits you when you get out."
No, that was later. That's when you're right. That is when I was able to get to a place like earlier than that before I left Virginia. I
Oh,
was like,
before
I was working at like Burger King, living in this little RV trailer up on a mountain. Had no car
I also
to
love the
walk.
fact that I inspired you to go home and build a studio because I was
Yeah.
in jail being like, hey man, I need you to move home and build a studio.
And you remember when
Like,
you got out of jail and K2 was legal, so I had a bowl
and I was
pack.
like, what the fuck is this?
And you smoked it and like driving home. It's like, what? Everything's so green. What'd you do to
Yeah.
me? So
Well,
funny.
I actually hadn't seen anything that
Yeah,
wasn't
but
like
then
yellowish white in a
you got
long time.
chemical stoned and put into a Hyundai Elantra and drove across. You know what the turning point was? It was a job. It was getting a job to where it was ragtag and I was a spotter, not even a helper. I was just
Yo,
standing in front of scissor lifts. But I took interest and I learned. Then everybody quit the next season. I took the leadership role and knocked it out of the park. And then we started building out. And everything has
I
been
love
like
that.
that since, yeah. Yeah, a little bit of luck.
Last week, right before I quit my job, I got to do a solid week of nothing but prevailing wage, like Massachusetts public school jobs. And they sent me out with Evan, who I love, because Evan didn't grow up in Massachusetts. He grew up in Connecticut, and it's not as good. But he came up here as a licensed electrician and tried to join the union because you have to be a licensed electrician in Massachusetts. And they were like, nah. And he's a nerdy white kid. And his best friend since grade school, Jacob, was the kid in my class trying to get my Tech D license that got me this job.
Right.
And like Jacob got weird on me. Like this
Turned on you.
30-year-old kid's trying to like flex in you. He said to me one day before we were about to do a teleconference, he was like, I am your superior. And I said to him, kid, I've never met my superior. You're my colleague. And like
They hate that shit. Trying to go for a power move.
Well,
They
the problem
hate that.
was I'm pretty sure Jacob is a little bit bisexual, and I'm pretty sure he had a crush on me, which is why
Or
he
is that-
wanted me to work at the company.
Or is that
And
just arrogance?
no, great kid. He's like 6 feet tall, blonde as hell, good-looking kid.
Would you fucking-
Has all the money. If I were into dudes, fuck
Right on.
yeah.
Right on.
Like, but I'm confident enough in my own masculinity that I don't have to make a show of it and
Dude,
try for it.
I am
Willing
confident
to wear
enough.
pink and stuff like that.
I'm so confident that
sometimes
I embrace
dudes-
femininity. That's how secure I am.
Exactly.
Where it's like,
exactly.
I embrace the grace and the wonderful thing that
I'm
it
wearing
is.
pink pants right now, dude, and the only reason my sneakers don't match is because those are my fresh new sneakers. So I put them in the box when I'm not going out to do anything.
Hey, why don't you go out more? Why don't you go meet people? Like, I know it's hard to do alone, but like you're in a melting pot of people.
The problem is I don't live in
There's got to be
proper.
there's got to be
I
stuff
listen to
around you.
Revere.
Yeah, there's got to be people around you.
Okay, so not directly around me. The good news is going back to Shufro, the kid they hired to replace me is like a young kid who's good enough at guitar that he's a hired gun for an old guy cover band.
No way.
And he's excited about the fact that I'm coming to the company. And the service manager already told him, hey, he makes weirdo music. And the guy was, because that's what I always say when people are like, hey, why aren't you doing more? And I'm like, I make weirdo music. Like I'm still looking for my slot. It's fine. I'm not worried about it right now.
Fearless.
And apparently his response to that was, I'm so bored, I'm looking for somebody who's trying to play weirdo music. And he might end up being one of our guys. I might bring him in and make him play bass for us for a while.
You sidestepped the question, though. Like, why don't you go out and do things? And meet people, meet a lady. Like, it's hard to make friends.
Here's why.
Okay.
My entire compulsion to go out into the world and go to bars when I'm not playing music there
Yeah.
has been twofold.
Yeah.
Number one, no, well, women aren't even number one. Number one is I need to find some weed because honestly, if I don't have some weed in
That's
my
not a
system,
problem
my
anymore.
brain don't work right, and that's not a problem anymore. I go to the store, I buy it, it's quick and easy. I'm in and out. I don't have to know anybody.
What's the second
I don't
one?
have to go to the after party.
Right.
And the second one is women.
Yeah.
Women is number two.
Yeah.
And like.
Have you thought about, like, I could ask myself the same questions. I could. I'm isolated because that's what I'm liking right now. Like that's.
You also have to remember that you're talking to Kevin Gerard, and you've known me my entire adult life.
I have.
You've known me since I was 20 years old.
Do you not want to hang out with anybody? You don't want to make friends?
I want to make friends. I want to meet dudes.
Yeah.
But that's not why we go to bars. That's an after effect of why we go to bars. I went to bars to meet girls, and I have no interest in meeting girls right now.
So let's take a sidestep then.
That's new for me, and I'm happy about it.
Let's think about something else.
A lot of money, and I got to buy synthesizers.
So, like, taking a left off that, what are some activities you could do to go hang around and be around like-minded people? To where, like,
going back to work at Shufro.
That's the social thing.
Yeah, because I'm about to go back in there, and I'm going to bring the Moog Mavis in there, and I'm going to be like, Richie, Brian, and new guy Kyle, like, here's how a modular synthesizer works. Richie, you already own 27 of these and helped invent them. Brian, you figured out how to build a looper for the guy who preceded me that killed himself. And so you know how in-out jacks on a guitar pedal and circuit boards work. And new guy, you're not as good as me.
This is going to be your first day.
You're probably a better musician. This is your new first day. No, because part of the thing is they're bringing me back in because I'm
as what?
I'm a paterfamilias.
Same shift, like same role.
Senior service technician.
Senior.
With
got
an
senior
$8
in there.
An hour raise.
That's a good bump. It's a good bump.
Yup.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
And I don't get all the bells and whistles like the health savings account I've been spending on beer and cigarettes. That's done.
which is
health
perfect.
Insurance is done. Like all that shit is done.
But these people know you.
They know me in and out.
Like, so that's hard to find. So it's like I'm a weirdo. Diamond knows me. Josh knows me.
Yeah.
And it's worth a lot.
That.
So it's like I don't have to explain myself. Now, I'm pleasant in the office for sure. And
man, I gotta tell you,
I try to be useful. Good hit.
Sorry, I just hit the pole.
Sounded like a good one.
Well, it's a roach I bought.
Oh, God.
I bought 10 grams of 40 bucks.
He's like yelling at me. It's a roach.
No, sorry, I'm still spinning. I still have like a couple of these full gram. I remember the picture I sent you when you were like, "Hey, smoking a fucking joint." And
so, do you want to apologize? Do you want to apologize for Lascivious Jones? Do you want to apologize to the world? Can you get stoned and make me a video apology to the world and explain Lascivious Jones? I want you to be really stoned. Can you do that?
The problem is I've got to not get stoned to do it because my eyes have to be super clear and I have to be making direct Mona Lisa eye contact
with the camera. You don't have to play. You don't have to play it that way. I just want to see you play it authentically.
Hold on. You ready for this?
I want you to send.
Here it comes.
What's coming?
My fellow Americans. A lot of people who know me know that
I'm not recording. I want you to save
it. No,
I want you to save it. I want you to make it.
I'm just trying to tell you I can do it.
Look, I want you to make it and send it to me, and I'm gonna put sad music over it, and I want you to apologize for code speaking or culturally appropriating a tone, slang, accent.
The only way I will do this, the only way I will agree to
What is it?
is if you also release every video we have ever done where I have played Lascivious Jones and wrap them into one video to where there's the 20-minute long The Rise and Fall of Lascivious Jones featuring the apology.
I could make a greatest hits. I could. Yep.
You have to, because otherwise there's no context. We don't have that many fans.
No, the context has been made because we put it on YouTube with you saying, "What's good, player?
It got 170 views.
There is a
20 of those were me.
There's something that you don't know. I want you to
stalkers. You pissed off the Chinese government. I understand.
No, it's dead. I bombed like Hiroshima twice. It's like it doesn't matter, but there is the possibility that what you make could go to eyes that you would never imagine. So all they saw was you with the pitch shifted voice. Using jail slang, essentially. Like, using jail speak, honestly.
I still do.
Yeah, I want you to explain it to the world, and I'm going to put sad music behind it.
Oh, man.
And I think it would be really cool. Can you give me 2 minutes on it? Could you sit in front of a camera? Or your phone. Your phone would be fine.
Right now, I don't think so.
In general. I bet you could.
I'd have to hook up the ring light. There's a way you do this now.
I don't know that.
And I've got to... Okay, so every apology video made from... All right, Twitter fam, AO chat, we got to have a talk. Like,
is that culture slang? Did you just culture vulture?
It's a whole genre.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying
let's do it.
Like,
let's
it's
do
a
it.
whole part of the zeitgeist.
Let's do Lascivious Jones comes back and wants to be forgiven. Okay. What is it? Dude, I love the idea. I love the idea.
There's so much in here. There's so much to do with this. Like, at some point, we have to
do an in memoriam
with a montage.
And a pair of sneakers.
I Will Remember You by Sarah McLachlan.
I will remember you. Dude, I don't want to use that. I don't want to use that because it's copyright, but I will put some super... If you gave me a minute 30, 2 minutes of pure... sad
we can
authenticity.
Use her exact chords and be like, I will refuse to forget you. And so you can't copyright a chord progression.
Right,
you can only copyright lyrics and melodies.
That's Sarah McLachlan, right?
I believe so.
I'm a really big Sarah McLachlan fan. No bullshit. I think she's a really good songwriter. I think she constructs very well, and I think she has depth. And you know that was about the Smashing Pumpkins keyboard player that overdid heroin and died. That's what that song is about. Look it up.
Puppies in cages, you son of a bitch. No, I know.
But it sells anything sad, right?
Yeah, Jimmy Chamberlain. What was the name of the guy on the
Jonathan
keyboards?
Melvoin.
So him and Jimmy Chamberlain.
Yeah, we know the story, dude.
Real fucked up
I don't want to rehash it.
No, I'm asking. I'm
yes.
trying. Yeah. All my idols are dead too. I don't know how Fish is still alive. Like, but I have no idea.
You understand that
it
could happen, and that doesn't make someone a murderer. It was like two people on a bad path, and there's danger and jeopardy there. So it's like you can't hold one accountable.
Hey, my lady is ostensibly the damn keyboardist from Smash Pumpkins.
Sad drunks.
Super talented chick who had to. It's almost like
How much time do you spend thinking about her?
Every day. I think about her every day.
How long?
Not all day every day, but every day. Depends on the day.
That's why you pummel yourself with distraction?
Yeah.
That's why I do it. Yeah.
But I've been pummeling myself with distraction to avoid depression forever because I have ADD. Like, the problem with being smart and having ADD, and man,
it's so humble.
I'm sorry you didn't grow up in a better school system than you grew up in that would have recognized that you're a fucking smart kid, dude. Sorry about that. Not your fault. But in a different environment, I was when I moved to North Carolina at the age of 15, I had a rough early childhood with
Dan Cummings,
diagnosed
memorable story.
ADD and stuff.
He moved around a lot, and he
Yeah.
was in school with new people, so he had to be entertaining, to make friends, and that's kind of what developed him into a comedian.
Well, the other side of it is the Bill Burr side of it, which is everyone from Massachusetts is funnier than anyone you know from anywhere else because, like,
his
it's
last
how we
special was pretty good.
communicate.
Yeah.
So it was really good. Drop
Yeah.
Dead Years.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I love Bill.
Yeah.
And again, I promise I'm not steering into the Massachusetts thing. I'm
Yeah,
actually
you
going
are.
to steer it back away from it.
Back to Adrian dying? You want to go back to Sadville?
No. But I'm trying to get, there's a point to be made on the other side of it that's redeeming and hopeful.
Let's hear it.
God, where even was I on talking about?
You moved back to North. You moved to North Carolina
Sarah
at 15.
McLachlan quality of it all. No, I'm getting
Love
out of
Sarah McLachlan.
North Carolina. I'm getting back to the Adrian of it all.
Okay.
Like she had like a pack of health and psychological stuff going on that like piled on at the last minute and was a whole rigmarole.
I'll tell you 100 times, but it's hard to not blame yourself for any of it, but you don't have to. You don't.
There are parts of it I do and parts of it I don't, because I'm also at the same time like, man, I reached out to everybody being like, hey, yo, y'all got any advice on this? By which I mean like her own mom and dad being like, hey, yo.
Just about her being a train wreck. I remember when I used to ask you when we were both working, and I was like, hey.
I wasn't framing it as Adrian's a train wreck.
No.
I was framing it as in, I'm worried about her health and stuff is getting weird.
But when I would ask you to go drink up, like, hey, let's have a drunk night, I'll buy. You had this vehement no. You had this, your no was so solid that it spoke bounds.
Because I really liked going home to Adrian. Like
No, we were talking about taking her, and you just had a thing. You were at a point where you're like, we don't need to be drinking.
Yeah.
More of what you were saying is she doesn't need to be drinking.
Oh, you talk about when I was in my sober period. Yeah.
Were you? Yeah, when you got
we were California sober. We were like
smoking weed, not drinking. Yeah.
Doing some acid mushrooms on the weekends.
Right.
But
she went hard.
That was the best year of my life.
And she's like 4 feet tall and 60 pounds, and she drank hard liquor. And she drank a lot of it.
And she already had like proper Okay, so PMDD, like her PMS would cause a hormonal drop.
Oh my God.
That would literally make her psychotic, and it had already been caught by the medical community because she grew up with good health insurance.
So that's not what killed her, though. It was the alcohol. But it was her being crazy that sparked the alcohol. Her being in a psychotic state.
Exactly.
Psychosis.
And on. Well, yeah. It was a big, huge pile on.
Yeah.
Because the psychosis made her hate herself and think that everything around her was terrible. And she would, like, accuse me of shit when
like,
she was in her spot.
What kind of shit?
She was like, well, everyone knows you're a rapist. And
Rapist?
I was like, who? And she was like, everyone you've ever known. And I'm like, well, the good news is that's not a thing I've ever been accused of. Like, when you and I hooked up the first few times, part of our flirting was asking for consent about shit. Like, come on, bruh.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it was sweet. It was really sweet.
You had a great love life, but that's not what drove her to it. It was her psychosis from her period. So her own vagina blood literally made her kill it.
It's like a psychosis from her period.
Okay.
Stacked on top of like piles of PTSD from shit that, like, I only started to understand while with her. Like, I've always been kind of aware of, like, man, I had 2 daughters and an Erica to deal with, and I was like, oh shit, women houses are different. Because I grew up in a house with a mom, a dad, and 2 brothers. It was dudes ran that house. Like, we were just dudes. It was wild.
So
we played
she
sports.
had been hospitalized, and she had a bad pancreas. Is that what it was? Gallbladder?
So, jeez, criminy. Basically, so it was pile-on. She had anxiety problems, which had triggered acid reflux, which was making her. So she had esophageal bleeding. Like her esophagus started bleeding after a while.
Right.
Well, all of that shit had been compounding for like 20 years.
20.
Because from the age of 20 to the age of about 30, she was a punk rock chick in Boston going hard as hell. And like,
it was
started
alcohol.
out Lisa Loeb
alcohol was
She
Courtney Love.
She did every drug we've ever done and more. She dated DJs who were basically drug dealers. She did the thing. She was the shit. In fact, the reason why her friends were like, what the fuck are you? Were like, Adrian was a rock star in Boston and she came back with me.
You're sad steering. I see you sad staring.
Not at all. I think it's hilarious because I was awesome in Concord.
Concord sucks. Like Concord made the Avett Brothers, dude. What does Concord know?
If I had been in Boston when I was 20, I would have been awesome in Boston when I was 20. And how I know that is because the chick who was 32, when she hit Concord, she was like, you're the awesomest thing in Concord. And I was like, I know. I've been saying that for 20 fucking years.
Was it her pancreas, her gallbladder, her spleen? She had been hospitalized
3 times in the time we were together. I spent more time at her bedside than I spent in the hospital while my kids were being born. And I was there for every minute of those. That was the whole thing. I read Adrian the entire Hobbit in a hospital room.
No way.
Out loud. Yeah, bro, at Mass General.
No way.
Yeah, 3 times.
What
Twice
was it?
in Concord, once in Boston.
Was it that drove her to that level? And it was only alcohol? She wasn't playing with anything else.
She wasn't. We smoked weed and she was drinking so you know you can get the nips of whiskey, right?
Nips.
She was
airplane bottle.
Yeah, up here we call them nips.
Okay.
But the airplane bottles, the South Carolina rendition.
Sure.
You remember back then? Remember when we played the Money and they were a mini bottle bar and we were like, we don't even know how.
What is this? Remember when we went to Texas and you could get liquor in a drive-thru at a gas station?
Fucking weird, dude. Up here, you get. I only buy liquor from gas stations up here.
Crazy. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Anyway, she went harder than both of us, or she went as hard as we did. She was just 4 feet tall.
Sleeves of them.
Right.
Like sleeves of them.
And when she would sit to drink, how much would she go through? Over what period of time?
She was doing it like all day, every day.
All day, every day.
And like it got to the point back when she and I had a similar schedule, everything was fine.
You were doing the Bukowski.
We'd be at work during the day, we'd come home, and we weren't drinking at home when we were both coming home together. It wasn't until our schedules offset and she was stuck home alone by herself.
She drank.
And she also 2 things happened in the same month. Like a guy who was the front man in a band that she was like the sidekick character of. He was a midget in a wheelchair on a mandolin who could scream like a motherfucker in Boston. And they were playing like Irish punk rock. And Adrian was the like hot girl who was also like singing along and playing guitar,
having a good time on stage, adding to the stage presence. Sure. So where were you going with this?
So no, here's where I'm going. So in the same month, he OD'd, Adrian finally got a job back in a cheese shop, which he had been
Cheese.
trying to do since Charlotte.
It's cool.
Because she got to be a certified cheesemonger. It's cool.
Certified.
So, like,
Want to go to cheese college.
It's like she basically did. And
That's where my jokes come
it,
from. I have a certificate. All my jokes, I graduated from cheese college.
Cheese college. Yeah, I love that.
Some Mitch Hedberg shit. I like it.
But it really is.
So,
but, okay, so
your schedule's offset and she's drinking when you're not there.
But that hadn't happened yet. What happened was this guy died, and the same week she turned a corner at her new job, walking away from a thing, and banged her leg on a piece of metal jutting out from the the cutting table, big stainless steel table, and that it fucked her leg up so much that we had to go to the hospital for that and get x-rays done. She was like black and blue on that spot for like 6 inches in either direction for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And she was limping around on it, banged the shit out of it.
Had to quit her job. Is that right?
I had to quit that job. And then the other job she was working, because the whole time I knew her, she always had like 3 jobs. Mm-hmm. She was great at it. She was always like, she would take part-time work and side work, but it would always be like really fun, creative stuff.
Yeah, it's cool.
Where it's like, that's awesome that that's how you do it.
We have a guy that does NASCAR. He does security at NASCAR. He literally said, because NASCAR is my passion.
That's so much fun.
He's got racing sims. They call him cornbread because he's as country as cornbread. It's a lot. Yeah.
Hey man, that's
passion is passion. He's so nice that I can't hate on him.
Part of why I'm going back to Shufro is we have 2 clients, one of whom owns a small Pro-Am Porsche team
for the Cure.
And one of them owns a small Pro-Am Ford team. And both of them, every couple of years, run Le Mans.
Oh, that's cool.
So, once again, my goal is to get to be 60 years old up here in Boston, and then move down to Concord and become mayor.
Dude, I saw a video on YouTube, and this guy, in an empty room, he built probably the dopest driving simulator I've ever seen. So it's like, he showed what he put into it, and I get it. Like, I get how cool that could be. I would do it for flying. If I could do it for flying, that would be cooler to me.
A thing you don't know about me, because when you met me, and for a lot of years when you knew me,
we didn't have cars. Neither of us did.
I went through long periods of time in my life.
We've come a long way. Hey, we've come a long way.
I don't own a car right now, and it's wigging me out because I don't have a company vehicle to go to the store with.
Yeah, don't get.
I live in Revere. Everything is a block away. Like
hey, we have come.
I got anxiety about it. I was like, oh my God, I have to go out and do my grocery shopping, and I don't have a vehicle today. And I was like, wait a minute. I have a reusable market basket bag with a strap, and I Google it, and I'm like, it is less than a quarter mile from here. Oh my God, that's less far than any of my stationary addresses.
You know what, man? You have always belonged in a city. You absolutely have.
I love it.
It's where you are. It's where you're supposed to be.
It's why, I gotta tell you, like, you talk about why I don't go out more, and it's this. I'm looking forward to Jason Morgan coming up in July. Because it's giving me an excuse when the entire, again, I'm not getting sad, I'm just coming to a point. Adrian knew how the Boston subways worked. So I never bothered to learn them because every time we went to go see Mark Maron or went to the city to watch the Christmas tree get lit and then go eat a ridiculously expensive dinner dressed up all fancy, like getting to go do all the cool Boston stuff. Let's go fuck around in Cambridge, eat
Right.
ramen,
And you don't want to do that stuff solo.
like, nah, bro, exactly.
You don't want to do that
Because
solo.
my entire life, I've either been rolling with a pretty lady or rolling with my homies. I always rolled deep.
So,
And
you said that with such
what
sincerity. I always roll deep.
I always
Maybe
have
what I was
until
doing,
got here.
what I was doing for a while, I would come through Monroe after work and stop at this bar, a little bar food, shots, beers, all that. Light enough to where I could drive home, but I met this young dude up there who was super smart and super into chess. And he started having chess day and hung out with chess people.
Man, I could go 15 minutes up the road here to the local nerd game store.
You would fit in. That would be your spot. That would be your
And
spot.
I could go up there on a Thursday
Magic the
night
Gathering?
and just be like, no. They do a D&D
Set
night
settlers.
up there every Thursday.
Okay.
And if I rolled up, it was like, I volunteered to be a dungeon master. I'll roll 5e rules. Then they'd be like, yeah, we can we have people who want to be in a dungeon. Like, nobody wants a DM. I only want a DM.
That's
I don't
cool.
like playing Dungeons and Dragons.
You get to be the center and the story
I get
maker.
bored.
Yeah.
I'm the story maker. I am the.
We talked
I
about
get to make you gasp.
Dude,
when I like being the PlayStation.
We talked one time, and I was running you through scenarios. I was like, I would set out to fuck you up. So it's like if there's quests and things to do, I would stay at the bar, and then I would influence a little revolution, and I would get the fucking cops everywhere, and then I would rob a bank. And it was like, do degenerate stuff. Play like a fucking degenerate.
How did I respond to that at the time?
It was cool until I was about 3 or 4 steps in. So you realize,
I
like,
gotta tell you right now, Matt Peterson was in my party. Like as a dungeon master, I'm good enough to work around that because that dude was just constantly trying to metagame me.
Was he? Yeah.
Nah, man.
That's got to be good. That's got to be good.
Momentum.
That's got to be good for the imagination. I see the value in the activity, just like the Avett Brothers. Like it's not for me, but I see the value in it. I do.
You'd have to be in the right party.
Apparently, there's a new text game on the internet. Do you remember, like Return to Zork? So it's all text and it's massively multiplayer, and you can get in and essentially play through books, and there's live people in there with you, and you can hook up with friends and party up, and it's like text, I guess, Dungeons and Dragons. And
oh my god,
sounds really fun. If we looked into that, like we could both make characters. iPad it up.
Real talk, and honestly, me just speculating on this thing here is enough to make Rocco's Basilisk kill me. Are you familiar with Rocco's Basilisk?
Not at all, no.
Okay, Rocco's Basilisk is the dumbest shit that ever happened. So you know what, like Schrodinger's
please
cat
elaborate.
is? Okay, you know what Occam's razor is, right?
Yes. Worst scenario is
no,
the right one.
If you eliminate everything that is impossible, the most likely scenario is correct.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
I remember it vaguer, but yeah, more vaguely.
Yeah. And then you have like Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which is if you observe a quantum particle, then you have affected it by the nature of observing it because it's so small that you shooting a photon at it, which makes it possible to see it, makes it change its state in a way that it would not have behaved otherwise. That's what Heisenberg's uncertainty principle is.
Okay.
And it works. It's why we have quantum computers now. It's a quantum state. It's not
so what
on
was
or off,
this game
four.
you were saying about you asked me if I was familiar with something. And I didn't know what it was.
Rocco's
Okay,
Basilisk.
what is that?
So, the people who are inventing AI and also getting really weird about it and like killing people and blowing a lot of venture capital money, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole
It's a
thing.
whole thing.
Yeah, fucking
Um,
giant mega computer destroy humanity. You know that old chestnut.
But yeah, so a bunch of very rich people at some point decided that that in theory, if you invented the most intelligent, if you caused the singularity to where AI becomes so smart that it rules everything,
Uh,
that once it rules everything, it will go back and punish
hmm,
everybody who ever said anything bad about it
think so?
on the data. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
So it's going to come back and be vengeful because you were against an idea.
But they're also going to put you in a matrix hell where they're just going to plug your brain in and they'll keep you alive. It's Hellraiser stuff.
Awesome.
It's the dumbest shit
I love
ever.
it. I like it. That's
The
fun.
problem is it took over something like 60% of the community of people who actually are trying to program AI to do shit in the
Okay.
United States because
Okay.
they're dumb here, and that's
They're
why
dumb
it's
here.
cost so much money.
It's
And
pretty
that's why
generalized.
China rolled in and we're like, hey, we built this AI for like $8 million, and the American AI industry that have dumped like
Billions.
billions of
Yeah.
dollars into it was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, that works better than ours. God damn it, what did we do? And
Is
it's
that how it
like,
went down? Is it really? That's how it went?
it's really how it went.
Wow.
Yeah, in a big bad way.
So
Like
what's
in a
next?
big bad way.
Like, what happened then?
Uh, and then Donald Trump got elected, and here we are. So we'll find out. I don't know. I don't
Mm.
know. I don't care.
You
But
start.
like, just knowing that those are the people who are running all the shit and
Mm.
moving the money around because they got wealthy moving crypto around when I was selling acid in Concord there in 2020. That was a really good time. I was really just Han Soloing for all my friends during quarantine. I was postmating and like running LSD around, and so it all just kind of worked. And
All
at
kind of
home,
worked.
I was hanging out with Adrian and having a good time, and our rent was paid, and I was making records and watching good movies, and it was the best year of my life, hands down.
But then you went north.
2020 was the best. Well, honestly, Adrian and I thrived until that 1 month in 2023 where, like, Adrian got injured and Andy OD'd, and, like, her losing the job like made us poorer so we couldn't go
Spiraled
out as
because
much.
of a cheese place?
It was a whole thing, man, and I
Okay.
watched it happen in real time around me, and the lesson it taught me is a lesson I already knew.
Well, lay it on me.
Like,
I like lessons.
when shit happens to poor people, it happens hard.
Mm.
Like,
does.
if it, like, Adrian and I were doing well. We went and saw Mark Maron. 6 months later, we went and saw Fish, and then we had a great Christmas.
You know what's
and
funny?
then 6 months after that, like, we were like trying to figure out how much money we had for a minute until she could go back to work and stuff. And
It was tight.
I was cool about it. I was like, we'll make this work, baby. It's fine.
Right.
But she was stuck home, so she was limping down to the liquor store.
Yeah.
And you
Perpetually.
couple that,
Perpetually.
like
over and over daily.
and over and over and over. And
Where was she getting the money for said liquor? Was that your money?
Because, like, well, she was also, like, she had 10 grand in savings when she died.
Hmm.
But she was
a lot of liquor.
paranoid about not, that part of that 10 grand was mine because we had spent it on bills and things. And then I was giving her money for bills, and she was just trying to get the account up to 10 grand. And I know that was the case because when she died, there was exactly 10 grand in it. And I know we had spent it down to about 7. Because, like, her grandparents were just giving her 10 grand at the beginning of every
cool.
year.
No shit.
Because
No shit.
for good reason. There are a million tax reasons why this is the case.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's the 10 grand is the most that a family member can pass on to you as a gift without it being a tax liability.
Huh.
And because her grandparents were so old, when they die, a bunch of estate was going to have to be split up. Like a couple $1 million was going to have to be split up.
A lot of family fighting
people.
between
Not
each other.
Not a lot of family, 3 people.
All right. Okay.
That's why my grandma just died, and I'm like, I don't care. If there's a check, let me know, but I doubt it. There's like, I'm one of 15. I'm the oldest of 15 grandkids.
Right.
Like, ain't no way. Ain't no way.
So she got 10 G's every year. That's really cool.
For the last, but it's also why she got to, go to Berklee School of Music and be a touring musician and make expensive music videos and make really well-recorded albums with professional musicians.
Because of that yearly nut.
Because her granddad wrote, did the one Caldecott and Newbery Awards back in the day. All the books in the school library with the shiny emblem on them when you were a kid. They were
I remember that.
those.
I remember that.
Back in the 60s, when basically, if you were a white guy in Massachusetts who survived World War II, you were going to be okay if you could survive for the next 20 years. Your life is going to be good.
Adrian limping. We're leaving off at Adrian limping to the liquor store. Yeah. And she was doing it a lot. And you were at work, so you were oblivious. And you'd come home, and would she be drunk, or would she be passed out, or?
Combination. And she was either drunk and angry, or
lovely.
Okay, no.
Lovely. Come home to that.
She was either drunk and sad, or being woken up and angry.
Oh, no.
When I was coming home at 5
from working,
all day,
holding it down.
Yeah.
So that can't be good for your relationship. I want to remind you.
She was trying to deny. She was trying to deny that she was drinking at all. Sorry, I've definitely been drinking.
Sure.
It's 11:30 on a Friday.
Hey man, we can kill this if you want. It's all good.
No, I'm having a great time. I'm not even sad. I'm happy to.
Not even sad.
This is honestly the first time I've been able to talk about this in a way that's this
not
is
painful,
happens,
not painful. Well, that's what I'm here for. All I know is from my side, and I'll get to that.
I love the shit out of that chick.
We know, dude. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows.
I dealt with so many fucking drunks and junkies, and
everything was an ordeal. You said you lost her in Boston. You've told me a lot. You've told me a lot.
So, you get it.
I do. She was daily drink. Your relationship was all fighting. It was terrible.
And that's where it got. And
so what's the decision with the hotel for her to go stay in a hotel for a weekend? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was. And honestly, I didn't. It had been a month since she had last been in the hospital, and she was there for drinking, and she took a couple weeks off, and it got us through Christmas and New Year's. So we got pictures up on social media of everything being awesome, because when she wasn't drinking, shit was awesome. When we weren't, us going out to fancy dinner and shit, I had a cappuccino and she had a soda with lime. It was a good time.
Look, man. That weekend, that weekend, you and I were playing Call of Duty, and you were at a breaking point. I can't
play Call of Duty anymore.
You were at a breaking point because things were rocky. It's tough to live through, dude. It's tough to live in that scenario with two people that are opposing and in unhealthy conflict like that.
Look, I don't blame Adrian for I don't blame myself for Adrian, nor do I blame Adrian for
you
dying.
And you feel how you're gonna feel, and that's gonna be long. That's long term.
It's gonna take as long as it takes. And it's fine.
Sure.
And
it's important. It is important.
Some days are better than others. It's well nigh on a year on, and honestly, Dude, like, I don't think we know anybody who's gone through that.
Not to that level.
Like,
Not to that level. Or to drink enough to physically die. Like, but
but it
you
wasn't,
and
it
I,
turns out it wasn't just her drinking. She had like three other health things down the line, which part of it was drinking related from like
right?
her young days, but like part of it was also just like genetically, here's how
Bad
some of your
news.
shit was built.
Bad
And if
news.
you compile the two, in the same way that like my ADHD fuels my caffeine, nicotine, and
Yeah.
alcohol
Or
addiction.
similar in that I have got away from alcohol, but this opium
I,
stuff, dude,
I
it is a money drain. But
Beer is cheaper. That's why I
mm,
drink beer, and I only drink beer at home.
there you go.
So,
There you go.
like, you're the only one who's ever encountered when I've gotten angry about some politics and flown
Sure.
off at the mouth. So I haven't got
Sure.
hit in a bar in a very
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, you
You
and I have
just
a
haven't
good
talked to me
we
for a
have a
couple
good we have
weeks.
a good track record at that.
I know.
Yeah, we do. So the way it led up and the way it happened, she went to
Hey,
the hotel because you guys had a fight.
we had been fighting for like weeks. Like we had a couple good weeks going through the holidays, up through like January, like through the first week of January, and then in the second week, in the premenstrual period, she like
So like
kind of
that
lost her mind and started drinking heavier
flew
than
off.
normal.
How heavy is that?
And
Like what level? You said you were finding bottles for weeks.
sleeves. I
Sleeves.
found them. I found them 6 months ago. I found a full and an empty 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And she's been dead for almost a year and a half.
And she was probably drinking. What do you think? Sorry.
Man, I don't. At the
Like
end of
5
the
to
day,
6,
I'm
7 to 8,
saying like 10 to 12.
10 to
Like a
12
sleeve.
of
Like,
airplane bottles. Yeah.
she was basically putting down a fifth a day.
And she was 4 feet tall and
Well,
weighed
5'2".
nothing. Like you and I have been debaucherous.
Like right
Like
around 100 pounds.
we
Like,
have gone hard.
She had some curve to her. She wouldn't like. Erica's smaller.
It's a light frame
I don't know
to
how
drink like that.
or Erica is still alive.
I'm not.
Honestly.
Oh yeah. I'm
They
not
make
comparing
that
body
Southern
taps.
White trash strong. It's
They
like corn
do.
fed.
Why do you
like-
think I'm still alive, man?
I know.
Like
You're
that's
not
half my
from
blood.
there.
It's half my blood. Like this is my place.
True story.
They do make them tough. I'll give them that. They don't spell or know geography very well, but
Not so much, but it's okay.
yeah, they're tough to kill, and they like to have
Dumb
babies.
phonics doesn't work on the South, and they love to have babies. Holy shit. Oh my God. Speaking of somebody who made 2 of those babies.
Yeah, right.
Like,
It was the South. It wasn't you.
So glad they're
You
grown.
just
You
gotta come in a vagina, dude. What are you gonna do? You were just here. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. It just leaves your dick right deep in there.
It really does.
And there's a magnet, and it's like the South makes your sperm go to her fallopian tubes.
Honestly, the problem was that I didn't know that I was an attractive guy that girls would like until after I broke up with Erica. And then I was like, wait a minute. All of my girlfriends have been attractive girls. Like, what the hell? And then I went buck wild on Concord and ran through an obnoxious number of girls.
I recall that. Do you remember that? Remember that meme that I posted to your Facebook, and I was so proud of you because you left it for the joke. It was you in a bow tie. Yeah, it was you in a bow tie working at the Asian place, the country club.
Yeah.
And it said, "Hi, my name's Kelvin. I'll be your server tonight. Can I interest you in some date rape?"
Date rape.
And the way your face was, like,
you're looking off to the side, looking all like,
dude, it was so like what that picture will be doing, and people liked it, and you're like, "Hey, man, my family's on this." Like, you kind of roasted me with that, but you appreciated the joke so much that you left it up for the self-flogging. Or just for the laughter. Just for the laughter. which is my favorite motivation.
I love that so much.
I do
There
too.
was a thing on Facebook for like half a second where you could click on a link and join this thing, and your Facebook people you were associated with on Facebook who also had the thing could comment anonymously
Oh shit.
on you as a person.
Oh shit.
And what I loved about it was the people I knew on Facebook are so fucking funny that I only got 2 comments. One of them was like, Kevin Gerard is a Jackie Brown of people. Like, he's not the best of the things that Quentin Tarantino he's done, but on his own, he still totally stands up.
Dude, that's a great movie. That's a really good movie.
I know, I love that movie.
The storytelling and the framing.
It's honestly how I got over my ex-wife, because I was like, yeah,
Through
I
Jackie
don't
Brown?
trust Erica. I trust Erica
to be Erica. We both zoned in on that.
I figured out how to deal with it.
We have referenced that. So in juxtaposition, Trump getting shot in the ear, turning harder religious, getting his ground roots base in a fervor. You can think of that as a storytelling like how Quentin Tarantino made those curves happen in the movie. Said this A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D.
So
leads to her getting shot in a parking lot.
At the end of the day, here's what happened. In 2015, I was living in Georgetown, South Carolina.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
And I was learning to surf with Blake Shores and Blake Sweat.
Hey, who's that guy? Who's that guy the guy down there?
Which guy? Bart?
The guy that you shot. Yeah, didn't you make him your character in your movie? And it was bad because it was bad.
Yeah. But I had known him for a long time, and even though when I told them that we have to stop this, he attacked me. Like, it was a whole thing. Like, he started punching me, and I had to start punching him back.
My scene was
Brian
great.
Morgan,
like
you were great.
with that other guy, it was like it felt natural.
You were with Mike Floyd,
right?
He's good.
Yeah, that was fun. To be at the bar, being like, all right, we're going to run this scene, and just have a couple lines.
Yup.
Yeah, that was cool.
Man, I had so much fun. I did not have so much fun.
Hey,
between Greenville, North Carolina,
Nightmare,
and
Georgetown,
making that movie.
Yeah.
I think I had more of an ulcer from that movie.
And Greenville, North Carolina. Hey. Back to the point.
Georgetown, South Carolina.
I remember when you went there.
I was learning to surf with Blake Shores and Blake Sweat.
Who are these guys?
2 awesome ass dudes who also worked in the service industry on Front Street in Georgetown. So we got to know each other, drinking at each other's bars, and I had friends down there. I made them in like 2 weeks.
That was your business. That was your business, but now you're actually making money.
I was bartending.
Yeah.
I had already. It was you and I had already run. We had already worked for.
Craig.
Craig. Yeah,
Sky Peacock was Texas, and that's where I met him in Greenville.
Later, I didn't come with you.
Right.
We met him in Greenville.
That's right.
Which is why when you told him you were going to bring me, he was like, "All right."
Do you remember the first date? He would always say like or whatever. He would take anything he said to your task. Like, what are we supposed to do? And he'd be like, you get these cables there or whatever. And you go up. And do you remember how fucking nonchalant he was and how he pawned all the work on us?
You remember that time we were like, hey, this is an emergency. We need you to come in and help us. And he came in and was like,
flip-flops.
Shoes.
Yeah. Yeah. What a dildo.
See, from that moment on, I knew you and I were going to have to bizzounce. So I was looking for the exit drop. When are we going to have enough money to get the fuck out?
Last thing I remember, you guys were removing dead lollipops off the ceiling. And you told the other guy, hey, man, I'm out of here. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. We had all our shit packed up from the hotel. Ready to bounce in one fell swoop. And it was election night, and we got to listen to NPR lose their fucking mind.
Which they're doing again!
Are they?
Trump
I bet.
just signed an executive
I bet they were.
order.
Dude, we
He
drove.
was like, kill all of them. Find me Ira Glass. We're sending him to
I want his head on
Salvador.
his stick.
Hi, this is
It's Ira Glass.
Ira Glass.
But why would you do that?
You're
Dude,
listening
we drove
to
from
This American Life.
we drove from
Tonight's
Texas
story, why am I
all the way
in an El Salvadorian prison.
Look,
We're going to
look.
talk to Hugo, who I'm pretty sure wants to
You're going
kill
too
me.
fast. You have to go slower. We
Yeah.
drove from Texas to
I'm
North
trying to
Carolina
outpace you.
at 12 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock.
All
with
night.
a hand. No. When did we start? When did we start?
So,
We started at like 10.
You got to my room at like 8:30.
I was at another job and something snapped in me, and I was like, "There's enough."
What
We waited
snapped
for the
you
money.
was I
We
was
waited
sending
for-
you texts being like,
No.
bro, we gotta go.
That was part of it. But we waited for that money. We had to make sure we got that money.
Yup.
And as soon as it deposited, we bounced. Right? Isn't that how that went? Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. The money hadn't dropped yet because there were 2 phones going in that car on the way back.
Yeah.
We were like riding in silence for most of it. And on my phone, I was checking the election results. And on your phone, you were waiting for the drop to come in.
And the money came, but we had already left. We made up our mind.
Right before Louisiana, and you were like, we
That's
just got the money.
right.
Should we go put all our money on black? And I was like, I'll play poker. And you were like, nah. And I was like, all right, then keep driving. Let's
We
go.
did.
I'm
We
not
had that
gonna
idea.
stop.
We had that idea to
can't
turn around.
stop here. It's
We
back
did.
country.
I remember that. We did have that
Yeah.
idea. There's
And then
uncertainty.
We went through 3 states where I'm like, I'm not talking
Smoking
if we get
joints.
out of the car.
Smoking
Dude,
joints.
We had so much weed. I love. Okay.
I can't believe
so
how we
weed-
never got pulled over.
Look,
It's like,
I could do a tight 5 about the 3 times we bought weed in Texas.
Likely.
And what smoking weed in the Walmart construction situation was like. And I love that the final act of that, the punchline of that whole story, where it gets super dope, was like, so after those guys almost killed me 27 times.
yeah, and you were like, I'm never riding with you again. He was Ku Klux Klan, right? That was the guy that you realized you were in the
he
truck.
was driving so fast.
Crazy.
Like, he was... I mean, Daryl and I drove like
Daryl.
that back in Knoxville
Dude,
when we were
Daryl.
20 and wasted. Like, it was a good
Dude,
time.
your Savage
It
Burns.
seems like he's
Those were
doing
stories.
good. Oh,
You know what?
man.
If we could highlight reel,
Hunter Thompson, dude.
dude, if we could highlight reel both of our lives and intertwine them, that would be a fun ride. It would also be horrible in a lot of ways.
That's my retirement plan. I'm going to change the names and write the novels.
There you go, man. There
You
you
should
go.
help. We can co-write novels, come
I
up with
can't write.
one pen name.
I can't write.
And
It'll be Credenza Wild. Hey, I want to get back to the point. Lascivious
go ahead.
Jones apology video. How would you play it?
dude,
How
the
would you play
montage,
it?
the whole
Explain it to
deal.
me. Explain it to me. Lascivious Jones apology
Okay.
video.
hold on, I kind of got to pee and I kind of want to have a cigarette before
yeah,
you, like, I've had to pee for like a minute, but
Well,
I'm
go.
really enjoying shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hold my shit, but if I have to
Go
do a
piss.
performance, I'd rather
No.
be relaxed.
If you're really
Okay,
going to
give
do
me-
it, I would want it filmed. I'm curious how you would play
now
it.
you're asking.
Well, no, go
Oh,
play it.
straight as hell. No.
Yeah.
I've seen this
Okay.
on
Okay.
YouTube so many times. I
Sad
know
music
exactly
behind
how
it,
to do it.
for sure. I'm
No,
gonna put some sad music
that's
behind
on
you.
Usually
I will. I'll
you
take
go
care of that.
deadpan, but one of the things that's made our shit like
I like how
Sure
stupid
Head's
it is.
Home Life.
Yeah,
Like,
sure
part of
has
what
home
made
life.
that so good was we had music behind it of our own
Yes.
that like dictated the rise and fall.
Yes.
And I think my beat was the first
It
half
was.
of the video,
Was.
and your beat was the second half.
Yeah.
Where it got all
There was like,
sinister, and
you're
it was brilliant.
you're all upbeat. Let me show you. Now, see, you played that character.
What up?
You played that character, but I didn't see it as racist. Now,
No.
because of what has happened in the world and police brutality, life, essentially, people getting fucked over, now it's a problem. So that character doesn't feel, it feels the same to me, but it's only because I know you. I know where it came from, and I'm kind of racist. Like way deep down. was like, I like laughing at people's differences. Doesn't mean I dislike anybody.
I do too, and it's not,
Right.
and that's what I honestly, and I'm not going to get into a Massachusetts supremacy thing, but think about Seth MacFarlane.
Okay.
And once again, I'd like to remind you that Harvard gave Seth MacFarlane their Humanist Award.
Huh. Do you know he was supposed to be on the plane for 9/11?
I do.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Do you know who's
still an atheist?
Who the house band for that award was? Adrian. Fucking Adrian and her band. She's singing the Family Guy song with her own big band behind her, like doing it all classy and proper. It's
Craziness.
Insane.
Yep.
It's some wild
Go
shit.
take a piss and think about your apology video. Think about the video.
Yeah, man.
This is a crazy thing to do. I'm going to do some more phobium. And then I'll walk around and pace some more. Do you hear the sadness in that door? In the squeak? You know how sad that is?
That's the saddest door squeak I've ever heard.
You just unmuted to... Dude, I can hear every driblet, dog. Like,
I know.
Do you remember the scene in Jurassic Park with? Do you remember?
You were being so sad that I called it out. I was like, "Whoa!"
Do you remember the scene? The scene in Jurassic Park with the drip in the water and the T-Rex footsteps. Like I just got a total audio 360. It's like here's piss going into a toilet.
The PlayStation headphones are really good.
They're
really good.
They are. I gotta give those Japs credit.
Man, they bombed the fuck out of a Pearl Harbor. If you want to hold an Iwo Jima for like way too long,
on a real level,
you do it. Yeah.
On a real level, like I have mad respect for the Asians, and the Bible says the meek will inherit the earth. So it's like I think the Asians deserve it more. I think they're better people. I think they have honor, respect, and manners. I think
honor, respect, and manners are a lot, dude.
They are, but
lot.
As human beings, I think they are a superior human being because I am racist. It's just not the way you think. I want to talk about these crackers. What these crackers are doing to our world. Dude, how long are we gonna have to deal with these fucking crackers? Jesus, titty fucking.
Christ, yeah, it's gonna, oh, bro, see, so for a long time I've been freaking out, being like, if it hits a certain point, it's gonna get weird.
Back to the point, you didn't wash your hands, and I heard you.
I never do. I live in my own house. My dick is clean.
And you touch everything. I'm like, I'm gonna pet some cats.
In my house,
it's not
cats are dirtier than I am, and I clean that litter box twice a day.
Nice.
Like, come on, man.
Nice. I'm with you.
Lick their own asshole. I can't even do that.
I think it's really cool that you opted to take care of them.
Hope he got dental work. I didn't.
Yeah.
My kids are still fucking terrible.
Ain't life funny?
Ain't life funny?
This cat, like, got dental work.
Yep. When I was like, if I were to go to a dentist to be like, hey man, I'm poor and I'm freaking out.
And they're like, fuck you, dude.
Fuck you. Yeah. But if you go to a veterinarian,
like, my wife just died, and here's the cat.
And here's the cat.
and it won't eat, and you're crying.
Find a guy.
See what you can do with heartstrings? Heartstrings are very powerful things. Man. You can get your cats free dental work.
Hey, this could be the bleakest thing I ever said. And if I found out you recorded it,
okay.
Me doing Le Mans paid for my PlayStation 5.
Yeah, but you already had the 5.
A couple bills too. I couldn't have done it without it. But it did pay for that. And honestly,
you ran a telethon. That is so amazing. Yeah, you put yourself out there.
It kind of is. I did, and I was surprised by how many people came out. Because you know me, like I don't beg. I'll ask for a couch.
But
But like
you'll be entertaining
I'll
the whole
beg and I'll
time.
be entertaining the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, if I'm gonna ask y'all for money, I'm gonna do something fucking stupid for it.
I love stupid stuff.
Let's
Dude,
go.
that's also a reason we're
I
good
won
friends.
that race. I made it happen. I
Yeah.
pulled it off in the moment, and that's what I do.
I like how stupid we are. Now, see, you had a little Lascivious Jones coming out. I want you to talk to me about the cultural heritage of the character, because I see it as being born in jail, and I see it as the
It
people around
absolutely
you.
was.
Right? Is it offensive? Would
Hold
you do
on.
it? Would you
Give
do
me
it
a
in front
quick
of a black
second.
guy? Would you do it in front of an Asian person?
Okay, sorry. I just stepped out of microphone range to put out my cigarette because my headphones don't work halfway up the stairs.
Yeah, I got a spot like that. Yeah.
And I was smoking in my mudroom, my vestibule.
Nice. Sweet.
Y'all don't have mudrooms down there.
No, because there's no snow.
Exactly. Yep. So here's what I'd say about the Lascivious Jones character. And
Okay.
are you ready to do the interview, Tim? Because I'm ready.
Of course.
I know your name's not Tim, but you came out it so formal. I just want...
Live in the studio.
Yeah.
We have someone who's ready to apologize. He's ready to tell his side of the character. And he's ready to defend himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kevin Gerard.
Thanks, Tim. It's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to everybody who's tuned in. I know a lot of people are very concerned about my portrayal of certain things lately, and I'm here to address that. I'm ready to come clean.
And what is your side of this story?
Well, when I first conceived of the character, Lascivious Jones, I had recently been incarcerated in Rowan County, North Carolina.
It's awful personal, Lascivious. It's awfully personal. You want to tell the world that?
Well, it
builds
happened.
Character. It builds character. Yeah.
It built my Spades game and my Scrabble game.
And you read a bunch of books.
I read so many books.
Dude, there was a part of me that was jealous of you.
Oh my God!
You didn't have to work at Burger King.
Look, if it wasn't for the existential hell of it all, that's why when I had to go in on my 20-day bid for the lawn gnome and the weed, and they were like, you have to do 20 days for this, I was like, this is gonna be great! Like,
dude,
okay,
and
let's
you
roll.
got to come back to Diamond Electronics after going to jail for 20 days.
20 days.
You can't tell me those aren't good people.
That was a completely separate jail stay. That was some bullshit where they were like, hey, remember that time you quit Diamond and then went back to work at Diamond? Well, you need to go to court over that. And I was like, okay, well, cool. You don't have to arrest me over that. We could just talk.
Yeah.
But then it snowed. So like it took a whole nother week for anything to happen. That doesn't happen where I live. And what's funny is how child support works now, because I have a whole different case agent, and I basically like
funny how pot charges work now. That's hilarious. It only ruined fucking 20 years of my life because I was caught with a plant. So it changed my employment opportunities because I was a silly kid that liked riding dirty.
But the marijuana charges don't do me any harm anymore. And honestly, even the lawn gnome at this point was like 2015. So it was like a decade ago. And it's a misdemeanor.
Time flies.
So it rolls off your record. And I still have no felonies. So I get to pass court.
This lady at H&R Black, she was like, there's that saying that life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. And I was like, oh, that's clever. And she says, that was George Carlin. I don't know if you've heard of him. And I was like, I'm a huge fan. This lady was old, like old hippie style. And
Carlin, man.
So much respect. It was like unexpected. I was going to drop off my W-2s. And I don't know, it was the weirdest thing. And I was like, hey, I like you now.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, when something gets passed down, it's really cool.
Fuck yeah.
So what had happened?
So what happened was, about 2.5 years ago, I dropped my phone that I bought in Concord so hard that I had to buy a new one up here in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And it happened on like a Tuesday night.
Okay.
So during my service calls on Wednesday, I had to swing by a T-Mobile store and buy a new phone real quick.
Okay.
The problem with this is when you buy a brand new phone and try and move all your shit over real quick, your like Google Maps is not going to work very
Right.
well, and you're a service technician,
Right.
so your whole day is going to suck.
Yeah. Man, I was just thinking about how fucked
So,
up it is. Like, you called your boss, and he was like, all right, great. So it's like he had set you up to fuck with you.
well, he already understood that he was in a position where I know more than him. I
You
came
think
to him
you intimidated him?
I came to him in January, and I was like, "Hey, man, everything we buy is about to get more expensive. You need to put a ticking clock on our estimates because it's going to get weird." And he
Our
was
Siemens
like,
just got bumped 10%, dog.
"Yeah, well,
10%.
okay, so
Where do you
that's
think
why
that
I'm
money goes
saying."
for? It passes to the customer, but we have already have contracts in motion. We already have
So
jobs that are
at
locked
that
in at this
point,
price.
yeah, so that it's going to kill companies. That's what tariffs do.
Perhaps.
Welcome to the Great Depression.
It's wild to see in person, like
I know.
in
We've
real
only read
time,
about this.
to be
The
like,
good news is, Justin, the good news is we're going to go through a Great Depression and then get lifted out of it by a world war. So, good times.
it's scary how possible things are. Like,
It's not even possible.
scary.
It's statistically
I don't bet.
unlikely to go any other way because that's kind of how our centuries have been cycling for
Yeah.
a few
Yeah.
thousand years at this point.
You're absolutely right. I fear for the children of the
You
next
realize the
generation.
Jews are trying to take back something they
Excuse
lost
me?
like 2,000 years ago.
Well, I'm
Not all
I'm
of them.
disgusted. I'm disgusted.
Not all of them.
I'm
Again,
disgusted by
difference between Israelis and Israelites.
absolutely.
There's a difference.
I am. It churns my gut thinking about that and reasons and all that. War is terrifying, and
Yeah.
our next generation
I'm sorry, I'm not trying.
they would be ill-equipped, but they would be good at video games. So the automation process of war would be
Have you
lethal.
seen what's going on in Ukraine?
Actually, Chinese people are really good at video games too.
I know.
They've got crazy hand-eye coordination.
Drone game is going
Gotta
to be
be.
ridiculous.
But
Have
hey,
you seen their drone
if
displays?
they already made AI, just get AI to do the fucking job. Like,
It's true.
Like hundreds and thousands of drones controlled by a mastermind.
Sounds like a terribly good idea.
You guys listening? Get a whiff of this. No, think about that war.
And then we just use the Matrix instead.
It's like
of
who's
for Vendetta.
yeah, right. Good, great pull, man. That's a good pull. Hats off to you, sir. That's good.
Nah.
So then it's EMP, right? EMP.
Yeah.
Kill the machines. Head to the farm, milk a fucking cow, kill a chicken. Like, what next, dog? Like, no electricity. 4 or 5 days, this shit goes bananas. That book I read, the fiction, when it was a solar flare, and it knocked out everybody's shit, killed a lot of the earth. It's a really cool concept. I just hated the writer really bad. The writers, it's a man and a woman, and the characters were awful. But the staging and the concept was really cool. So if the Chinese army has thousands of drones controlled by AI, like, war is no longer a ground game. It is not foot soldiers with people with guns.
Dude, the war has not been a ground game since since we bombed Dresden. Like,
so horrible, dude. So horrible.
We changed the whole
bombed.
game. Yeah, like, what if we can just annihilate your entire town from space?
From space. All right, so think of. There's no ground game, so it's machines. The places you would want to be. This is going to be your first Southern
Oh,
Supremacy. This is Southern Supremacy coming at you. Supremacy.
Yeah, you're
Where it's
right.
like, you would want to be in the sticks, dog. You would not want to
you
be
guys,
in
you
the
have
metro.
no viable targets.
Yes,
There is nothing
yes.
useful
Hey,
where you are.
what I realized about being Justin Klein in the South, I can slide through and nobody will even notice. Like if I don't want them to, and I don't want to tell them or show them anything,
Dude, you just got
nobody
turned into
even
fucking
looks.
Bohannon from Hell on Wheels. You gotta be like, oh yeah, and you're good. Like they'll let you. Yeah.
But you're right.
Nah.
Nothing is getting
Let
attacked.
you slide,
Nothing
yeah.
is getting attacked outside of Marshville, Locust, Wingate, Concord. It's not even on their fucking radar.
Not even. That's why I wore the Not a Terrorist t-shirt in 2001. It's because I was like, guys, do you really think they're gonna bomb downtown Concord? Why are you being this weird about
Dude, works
this?
got let out in buildings. Angie, the girlfriend, was working at Allstate.
I recall. I recall.
They had everybody go because they were worried about being in buildings, and I'm like, man, if Al-Qaeda...
She gave me Hunter S. Thompson's mailing address. So it was a P.O. box.
Do you remember she was looking up Eminem's insurance policy and pointing out how, like,
remember that, but that's hilarious.
the wife that he separated from and talked all that shit about, he had a ton of stuff on his insurance in her name. So it's like, even if, like, she said he had a bunch of shit. It doesn't matter. I don't care about celebrities or what they do. It's just interesting. Like, what is out is not likely what is real.
That shit is funny. Yeah.
It's funny.
Always and
so
forever.
Back to war. There's no foot soldiers. What does war look like?
Well, the problem is it always comes down to foot soldiers. And I say this as a guy who has a cousin and an uncle who are Raytheon men. The most accurate of smart missile can hit within a click of your target, and it will demolish an entire block.
Yeah. So when you want to not have guys on the ground,
can just land it in your back pocket.
Good. They could slice you up with razors, blast you up. Who gives a shit?
The problem is, at the end of the day, you actually have to physically occupy the land.
Good point. You roll in with tanks, but there's weapons that can destroy tanks. So you have weapons to destroy those weapons, and back and forth we go. You know.
And back and forth we go, and that's war. It's also
sounds
why
like a drag.
It's also why, so. The downside of living in Boston is that we are like a target.
Fuck yeah.
If you're gonna... The good news about Boston is we are impossible to physically invade. No one has ever been able to.
I don't think that's on the radar, and they would pick Boston to send missiles to. Like not you specifically, but your Massachusetts supremacy.
Would, but Russia is going to hit like New York, and we'll catch the fallout, and Washington D.C.
So you think of what that would be like to see a nuclear missile hit the center of New York, and with as many cameras as we have today, like all the digital, that shit would be on film, and you would be able to see it.
If the nukes fly tonight, because you live
because we're talking about this. Yeah.
You will survive it.
I will.
Because I live where I live.
You will not.
I will not.
Yeah.
And I live in the basement. So if I do, I'll be hitting you up.
You would be in hell.
Like a couple
all the phones would be down.
This is bad, dude. I'm not going to be able to shoot you tracks.
No music? Man, what the fuck? Let's make jams. And we'd get stoned. Make it happen.
You remember when you used to wake me up on the couch by playing guitar at me?
I'd be staring at you, and when you open your eyes, I'd be like, hey, you want to play guitar?
It was the best time of my life.
Dude, living on Union Street. Do you remember that apartment? I got a hammock instead of a bed. I put a hammock in the room.
And you put the least comfortable couch in the world in it, and like a couple weeks later,
I don't remember where I got it.
Onto that couch.
No, what it was is we had hung out a lot and jammed, and then you were about to leave and it was raining.
We hadn't hung out that much.
Yeah, we
It
had.
was like
We'd
a
hung out a
couple
good
of
bit.
times, dude. Like 2 or 3 times. It was not enough for us to have made lifelong, you're my best friend now decisions.
That's what fate might be real. Like, there might be a fucking plan. Donald Trump had to get shot in the ear. Jesus is coming back, and he's got a plan for all of us, dude. There is power in the name, and we are on the right side of holiness. We are aligned with the good, so we have to bulldoze
Donald Trump getting shot in the ear was catch-up, and so is stigmata. I said what I said.
I said what I said. I like it.
How Jesus pulled it off.
I like it. Dude, my version of Jesus is way cooler. I've been playing with the Jesus character in my mind, and it's like, I think everybody got it wrong.
The Jesus character. I can throw out the beard. I'll do it anytime. At this point,
back to World War III, man. Back to World War III. So
my
nukes.
favorite topic. Yeah. Oh, I'm
World
done,
War III.
dude.
You're done. You just accept it.
Well, I live in a basement apartment that's protected against radon, because that's how you have to build a house in Massachusetts, because basements are a thing. Yeah, it just seeps out of the ground and it's radioactive.
Dude, you'd have to kill your cats and eat them at some point. It's like you would probably exhaust all possibilities first.
Oh no!
But hunger would get crazy.
Well,
you'd have to
honestly,
eat your animal friends.
I would say a solid 25% of the population in the town I live in lives in basement apartments. So
okay, so you can make a community. Yeah, you can make a community.
Because that's what humans do.
But you can't go outside. You can't go outside because of radiation, so you'd have to tunnel to each other through the basements. And that would be a lot of work. You would get tired and hungry.
What we thought goes on with nuclear winter, because they pumped that shit into our veins on television in the 80s. True story. I saw like entire TV movies about this as a kid.
Yeah, I heard it was
I've had to check in with my parents lately and be like, hey, was that real? And they were like, oh yeah, we watched that. And I was like, why?
Because that's how scary the world was.
There were 3 channels and the world was scary.
Look, they dodged the bullet. Intentionally, they pulled it back. They got the fear in everyone, because you have to have that shit to keep society moving. Yeah. They pulled it back, and then they bring it to the edge. There's 2 things. War can be very bad for business, but it can also be incredibly good for business, which is terrifying.
Okay, so part of it is Karl Marx was right about some things, but wrong about other things.
Such as, break it down bullet points.
Okay, Karl Marx was right about the fact that unchecked capitalism will always continuously, exponentially exploit the workers.
Yeah.
If there's nothing involved to regulate that.
I can't find the lie in that. Like, I don't know where it is. It's a monster, but it also keeps society moving. Now, what's an incorrect con?
Okay, it's not even a con because it hadn't been tested yet. Like, Russia and France hadn't beheaded a bunch of people. Well, France had beheaded a bunch of people.
You started with this with Karl Marx was right, and he was wrong. I agree with you on the right. That seems likely. What about wrong? What was he wrong about?
The wrong part is this. He said that if you if you just drive the lower classes into the ground perpetually, eventually they will revolt. And that's not actually true.
Well, how comfortable are they? That's a follow-up question. It's like how safe and cozy is your population?
And that's what he missed, that a later economic sociologist kind of worked out. And I can't remember that guy's name off the top of my head because I've been drinking and I don't have it in front of me.
Sure.
I don't feel like Googling
you don't have to prove shit to me. I don't care.
But what he postulated was like, no, all you have to do is let the upper, lower, and lower middle classes attain a level of comfort, and then immediately deny it from them in a very short amount of time. And that's when the petite bourgeoisie fall quickly, that's when violence happens.
I don't know that, but I can see.
Guns.
What do you think everyone in previous 2020, 2019, police brutality, Black Lives Matter, COVID, Do you feel in any way like it feels like that could be a gauge to see, let's see how scared people are and how much they're paying attention. Let's see how tuned into this news story we can get them, because what's coming up next requires attention. And they're thinking on the scale of 10, 20 years. They're thinking on longer scales than a news cycle.
Well, I will say I had COVID twice. And the first time it didn't have a name. Because
dude, my redneck blood fucking brushed it off. I was sick for like 2 days.
Dude, I get sick for like 3 days a year, and I don't. This last year I didn't, because I didn't know if I was depressed or hungover or sick.
I could tell you.
I just decided I was none of those and went to work anyway.
You have to, like a man.
Like a man, you know. But like COVID, so. Adrian and I both fucking got it.
And you took a lot of precautions.
When I was working at Diamond, and before it had a name, I had to take a whole week off work, and so did Adrian. And what I realized in
it was a bunch of drama, wasn't it? Like Dustin was talking shit about your girlfriend.
I know
that was, dude. His personal shit. Like I've been able to separate myself and to be able to act on my own. I stay away from all of it. That is
I loved that you and Adrian got to hang out at Dave & Buster's, so you know she's a down-ass chick who's willing to play some video games and
have a good time.
Like,
fuck
hang
off.
out and have a good time.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
She did tell me that when I went to the bathroom, you were like, "Hey, if you hurt my boy, like, don't hurt my boy."
That's cool.
And that means a lot to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, man, that shit's tragic. It's going to be hard and a long road. I say these outlets, like these long talks,
you know
shit like that.
how much of my life have been tragic? Like, oh, what? My kids don't talk to me.
Dude.
Oh, what? My biological father started beating the shit out of me when I was 15 years old and moved in with him.
Which is old.
Oh, what?
That's pretty old.
I had an ex-wife who just couldn't stop sleeping with elderly men.
Yes.
Like
psychology professors.
Like, all good. Not even.
So it's like this.
Like English professors.
English.
And
not even.
Management at corporate restaurants.
Nice.
Like, not even impressive.
And
man.
your friends. Twice.
Not
Twice.
once, but twice. Look, I'm sorry.
You got a raw deal?
I'm the asshole for not knowing what the appropriate response to that is. Like,
look.
Yeah.
We learn our own lessons at our own times. These long talks vent.
We all do.
Also, jams. Jams vent out your bullshit. So you should play more jams. First, we need a Lascivious Jones apology video.
Oh my God, that's gonna be so good! I'm so excited.
I want you to be thinking about it.
Get the ring light in. Like, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna have it tone on perfect. It's gonna look best.
I might black and white it. We'll see. Once I get the core video. Jams, outlet, venting.
Okay.
I like to type, you know how I type, and then I type the parentheses. So it's like I'll talk to myself on paper because it's useful. And Carl Jung did that shit. Yeah. And it helps me. So taking all this shit with Adrian, with your job, with your family, with your ex-wife, with all of it, your father, everything. Venting that shit out some way.
Here's where it's gonna get slightly emotional, but not that emotional because I'm not steering that far into it.
Let's hear.
Okay, so you've been. You remember how I'm like, oh, y'all need words? I got words.
Yes, you were really into big words.
All these words.
And the people hated you for it, dude. They fucking hated you for it.
I'm saying when it came to songwriting, like, let me just write, you know, like, hey, do you need a whole song?
Do you remember Pirate Song? I think that's one of the most pure things you ever wrote.
It's one of the best lyrically.
I think if you find an MP3, I know I have it on a hard drive, but if you find an MP3 of it, send it to me. I think that's one of your best lyrical songs.
Man, I don't own that. I wish you did. And
I
would
do.
Send it to me.
It's on a hard drive.
It's part of it. So, okay, here's the deal, Justin Klein. If I get hit by a city bus tomorrow,
I have to find your shit and release it. It's a lot of
Justin
responsibility.
David Klein.
Yeah. I'm gonna make my entire blog public before I die. So it's like
you are responsible for putting together the Kevin Gerard's Greatest Hits album.
So we got one song, two. Just kidding. Just fucking with you.
Well, honestly, if he goes through the problem is it's going to require going through a lot.
Well, it's also like
some old shit back,
it's more of Justin's favorite songs of Kevin. That would be more accurate.
It's also going to be like you being like, "Hey, yo, Alan, do you have a copy of this?"
Yeah.
And he'll be like, "Yeah, man, of course I
Alan.
do. I keep it."
Said Alan's doing well. That's so cool.
Yeah, he's married again. He has a stepson who is learning to play keyboards.
Hell yeah.
He lives in Locust.
No way. Cool.
Yeah, he lives on a horse farm out there.
So cool.
He goes, we were talking about guns, and he buys them from right next door to Diamond. And I'm like, that's where Justin is, right? And
yeah.
he's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, man.
He loves you.
I love
you
Alan,
so much,
dude.
man.
I love Alan.
Alan's getting the final pass on our Pink Floyd record.
The concerts we went to, like playing at church with him. What?
Look at me right here. Eye contact.
I can't see.
I know. Shut up.
Oh, your character.
So Alan.
Does this bit develop?
If you and I are gonna make our variation on Pink Floyd's Metal, knowing everything we do in 2025,
Can't we do Dark Side? No, I'm just kidding.
No, we're not there yet.
My headphones might be dying if I cut out. Just understand I'm going to plug them in.
All good. Mine too. No
so
worries.
Alan's getting the final pass.
But he's not. He has no mixing capabilities. He just gets to drop dope ass piano.
Dude, he had the basement studio of a dream, and
he doesn't have internet at his house.
That's
He's gonna have to download.
That's awesome.
At work,
dude. Alan is the realest motherfucker. He was a crackhead for a little bit.
Yeah. Do you know that on my wedding night he was like, "Look, I gotta tell you this because I can't not. I'm so drunk. I love Erica," and I was like, "Oh man, it's okay, bud. It's okay."
Like the anomalous necessity when we showed up at his place.
Yup.
We had that other drummer that was erratic but a decent drummer. He was like a better timekeeper than Jeremy.
Once, I don't even know. He just left his drums there.
Ben was his name. I knew him. I knew him from that apartment complex, and he totally did. He just fucking left him.
Did he die? Like, what happened to that dude?
I don't know.
Well, I've been through more drummers than Spinal Tap, and none of them have been. My brother, Justin Gerard, who is my stepbrother, was the best drummer I ever had. And, like...
Does he even play anymore?
No.
That's so sad. Hey, do you think about a life where you give it up? Like, I sit in my spaceship, my time capsule there, and I look down at it, and I think about, like, what if you just let it go? I was so bummed when I thought you would let it go, because you're like, I play to get women, I don't want a woman right now. And I was like...
once again, it was the combination of
I think that was just
like,
you saying some shit, dude,
music?
and I think you just didn't see shit clearly.
Well, it was why I didn't want to play out, and I didn't say the thing clearly. And I actually mentioned to one of my coworkers not too long ago that I said to you that I tell stories about you, and nobody ever gets the full name. It's just like my buddy Justin, my buddy Justin, my buddy Justin. Cool, man. Like my homie and I were down in Texas,
dude. When I had to summon your spirit with some of the conflicts I had with Dustin. Like when he was trying to, like what your boss just did to you, where it's like he pressured you until you quit. That's what he was trying to do to me. He was, and I'm like, man, you don't know who you're fucking with. Like I've got an iron core and I'm fucking slippery.
And
and
that's
I'll
why
beat
I
you.
did. That's exactly why I did ESCS the way I did. Is
Mm.
because I know full well they spent six figures onboarding me,
Damn.
and they bought me a whole synth rig and caught all my bills up.
Sick.
So if you're gonna start getting
Hey,
weird,
man.
it's my time to go.
Hey, man.
Like
What
before
about
you
fate?
crunch.
What about fate? You got your, it's predatory, but you got your bite out of it. You realize you don't want to fuck with them, they don't want to fuck
Hey
with
man,
you.
look, if you're born in the ocean, you better learn to swim.
Good
And
point.
like, if the workers are not going to be protected,
Mm.
then you need to be a union of one.
But you also have to believe in yourself so hard. You have so much self-value that you don't question in your mind. You can walk away and be valuable somewhere else because you are certain
Yeah.
of what you carry with you.
I've done it. I've
Yeah.
just done it. And they're
It's balls.
like,
Yeah, it takes
a
balls.
fucking Diamond put me through a meat grinder. And before Diamond, you and I
No,
went through meat
it was
grinders.
Dustin, and
And
you
when I
attacked it,
came up to
Josh.
Boston, like smart people were like, "Hey man, you want to like really figure out how to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And
Smart
it was
move.
nice.
Yeah, smart
And then
move.
I had to re-leverage because capitalism, and if you're
Yes.
born in the ocean, you better
Yep.
learn to swim.
Right.
But now I get to go back to those people and be like, hey, yeah, you ready
You
to
know
have
what?
some fun?
You know what
Like, let's
I would
ball.
suggest. I know you never would. Like, what would make them feel really good is like an apology, and you straight up
Yeah.
saying, "I didn't know what else was out there." Like I did
No,
that at Diamond, and I still do when I
I
left.
did. I did. I told both Richie and Ricky, I'm like, look, like, you guys, well, I've been talking to, like, everybody at
Well,
Shufro the whole time. Like,
well.
my bosses, my coworkers, like,
So just
they,
come out and own
I
it. Be
came
like,
in,
look,
I
people
think I
suck.
cried when I put in my 2 weeks notice.
Cried.
Like,
Oh,
I think I rolled a tear where I was like, listen, I love
well.
you guys, but I have to do this. Like,
Look,
I need.
look, it's awesome, number one, that you left that way instead of burning bridges, because I know your affinity for that.
I burned the
Number two,
shit out
you
of
burned the fuck out of
ESCS.
some
Oh
bridges,
my
dog.
God. I was
You
cussing
burn.
out the HR
You,
lady. I was like, you better
you
come
burn.
correct with my money.
No shit.
Oh my
I
God.
bet you went.
Alien.
Did you go Lascivious
Oh,
Jones on it?
no.
Nah,
I went
there
the
was no
opposite
playing.
way.
There was no
I,
playing.
They
Sirius
tried
as a
to
heart
cite
attack.
they tried to cite non-compete, and I was like, first off, your firm doesn't do fire alarm. Second off, where I'm going doesn't do what did I
Intrusion.
say?
Access.
No, where I'm going does do intrusion and
Right.
access. I was like,
Right.
my new firm doesn't bid public contracts.
Ah.
Because we only do
It's a lot of. That's a
residential.
lot of
Try
money.
it.
Yeah.
It's commercial or
Any of that
residential. Yeah.
cluster shit that kind of conflicts with you as a person,
Yeah.
because it's this big meat thing. So you are in a grinder. It's much
Well,
more
they showed me
personal.
some paperwork that was like, why don't you just collect unemployment for 6 months?
Oh yeah.
And a part of me for a while would have been like, yeah, but
You're better than that.
nah.
God damn it. You're
That's not
better than
what I
that.
do.
Hey,
Have you
the
seen
younger
my
versions.
synthesizer rig?
Yes. And see, because
It's not what I do. I'm a wire motherfucker.
that stirs your heart. Like when you say, "I was just playing to meet girls." It's like that's I know you're bullshit. Because when you throw yourself
Honestly,
into
like,
it, you would really throw yourself into it. And
I
whether it's
got
good or bad, I don't.
I've
That's
been
not even the point.
creating art since before I knew what girls were. I got good at it because I was trying to impress
That's a
girls.
pretty standard story.
That
You know that?
doesn't change the fact that I still love doing
Hey,
it.
my headset's dying, man. I have to plug it in.
All good.
I
You're
think I have.
so squeaky.
I
So
know it's the
squeaky.
saddest door in the world. I think I have a little battery bank. That would be the ticket. Because then I can just put that shit in my pocket.
Ball out. Dude, I'm so glad you still hang out with me on occasion. It's pretty great. We live 1,200 miles away, and I hang out with you more.
Look, there's not a lot of people like you. There simply isn't.
Fucking, there's not a lot of people like you. There's nobody like either of us. We're weird as fuck. We're just like good at being the weirdos we are.
What was that thing that you just said? I got disconnected.
I'm back. Wait, I said, we're both weird as fuck. It's
Yes.
like, So nobody like either of us. It just so happens that we jive, you know?
This is true. This is true. Conversations are boring with a lot of people. And, sometimes I have to steer you, but I hope you understand why.
Yeah, because I tangent, and I'll get worked
You'll go
up
hard at
about
it.
a
Yeah,
thing.
you'll go hard in it, and it's tough to get a word in, and that's what makes conversations great. Talking to you tonight with the both of us is back and forth. That's much better.
I just feel like I'm in a better headspace now that I've been in a while. Like
Good.
I was in a tight spot and it was making me frantic, and I made a move, and like the new place was weird, and that was
They
making me
didn't they
frantic.
didn't like
And
you.
well, my coworkers liked me. Management didn't like me because they were a bunch of fucking salesmen, and like they've never held a screwdriver. They don't know. And I came in there with real talk being like, yeah, you bid that thing for a day. It's going to take like 4. And I'd also come back and be like, hey, man, you bid that thing for like 3 days and we ran this wire in 1. Like, you did this wrong. Like, and I took on Bosch. I don't know that you can hear me right now. Your headphones may have cut off.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Have you been able to hear me this whole
Yes.
time?
Yeah. I
Okay.
thought I was talking. Sorry, I was getting battery. I'm kind of stuck here. Let me get something. Yeah, you took on Bosch, which is amazing.
I did. I was with them for like 3 months, and I did some of the most impressive technician work. Like I came in full of confidence
Why?
and
Why did they want you to
information and
leave?
ready to go,
Yeah.
because I threatened the status quo because I knew that they were doing shit. I don't even know
Here's
how to explain it.
from
They
another
were
perspective.
bad at it. They were running
And
the
you called it
company
out.
badly,
Hey,
and
something
I
I
knew
realized.
it from the jump.
Dustin is all about that, pointing out people's mistakes, and
Yeah.
he'll do it to people to belittle them. And their estimator Carlos was like fucking up a lot of
Yeah.
missed stuff, a lot of materials, a lot of time,
Oof.
and he would come in and call it out. Dustin lost. He accidentally bought digital licenses for a project that we weren't on the hook for, and we took them to the manufacturer, and they said, "No, we've got no refund on licenses." Then we took it to the
Oof.
owner and we were like, can we sell you these licenses? And they're like, we have a deal with this manufacturer. We get it cheaper than you do. So we're like, all right, we'll take a hit on, it was $3,000 less. We'll just take a $3,000 hit. They came back and said, no, I'm sorry, we don't take back licenses. This is 14
Yeah.
grand Dustin fucked up, dude. Like
God
Dustin
damn.
fucked up. So I
Yeah.
got him for 14 G's over the head. When I came in and they brought in the equipment, they had all these 24 volt surges, $110
You told me
each.
about that Dytech out the ass.
Out the
like
ass.
cases
And
of Dytex.
I printed out what was logged and I said, hey Josh, I highlighted all of them. I was like, why do we need them? And the reason they needed them or thought they needed them is because they subbed out these major jobs to another company, and that's how they drew it, and nobody checked. And Dustin just ordered what was on the legend because he doesn't think about stuff like that.
And they were putting a Dytech on like
I get
every
there,
device.
every knack, dog. And I get there and I'm like,
Oof.
I've been in the field. I know you use one at the panel. You can use a couple ISOs, break them.
If you're running an underground, then you absolutely
absolutely.
use one.
Look at you, man.
Learned,
Look
well,
at you.
like my first week on the job with Diamond, when it was all hands on deck down in Rock Hill.
Do you remember Belmont?
That whole problem could have been solved by Belmont. Was awesome. That
was
just
me and
running
you,
wire
dude. That GC hated us because he hated your attitude.
We were having so much fun.
We were. I was thinking about making jail food in the Food Line parking lot, which was tuna, ramen. What else did you put in there?
Mayo and mustard. That's all you need, bro.
Tuna salad.
Ate that today.
No shit.
Ate that today. Yeah.
No shit. You're still making jail food.
I have an electric kettle in my house. I don't even have to turn on the stove. It's fucking easy.
That's some caveman level, but it's ingrained in you now. And there's a part of me.
There's tasty.
There's a part of me that wishes I had the time you did in jail, but I just couldn't fuck with the people. We would have handled that way different. You adapted.
You'd be amazed. You would because think about who I am and how
you had to chameleon county jail. Like you had to pull that off for a year.
Yeah.
1 year. That's so impressive.
Well,
How you
honestly,
handle shit.
I kind of Michael Corleone did it. Like, I was like, it was the Al
Did
Pacino version of how do you go to,
when you
like,
get to
young
jail,
Pacino.
walk me through Kevin's first day in county.
Oh, God, I
Scared?
don't remember it properly, but,
Yeah.
like,
Did you stay
what,
quiet? Did you talk to people?
well, the cell they put me in when they put me on the pod was I was in there with a guy. It was like a 53-year-old black guy from Brooklyn
Yeah.
who was in there on a murder charge. And he was like, I've killed people, but I didn't kill that guy.
Wow.
Like, I used to run gang life back in the day, but I don't anymore.
This was your
And
cellmate?
his name was OG or West. Ayo West.
Ayo West. Okay.
Yep. And he was my cellmate. And like,
For how long? How long was it you and OG?
For months. Like, I want to say like 2 or 3 months.
You guys got along?
And, we did for a really long time because, like, I could read his legal paperwork. And honestly, what's really fucked up is part of the reason the Wu-Tang Clan shit talked to me is when I was watching their miniseries, they were talking about, so
Dirty
there's
bastard
like,
being in jail, running that shit.
no, that's not.
That is exactly what happened, though, in real life.
Yes. Yeah, but there's a thing that predates all of it that's worked up through all the Wu-Tang shit.
Story, okay.
And it's like the black Muslims and the black Hebrews.
Right, Ghostface Killer.
In Staten Island.
Who's the other one? I don't know their names well.
There's like a crossover. Okay, so you got
the
RZA, the Jizza, Method, Red, Ghostface Killer, the Chef Raekwon. That's one guy.
Yep.
Master Killer, Inspector Deck, and that's 8.
Which one got?
And there's also Capadonna and Master Killer, and that's the full 10.
In the show, which one went really hard? Positive message. Let's speak to our people. It went.
I mean RZA, because he was, because it was his show. Yeah. He's made movies and TV before. He knows how to make a miniseries for Hulu.
Why not?
He was on a very good season of Californication and put out The Man with the Iron Fist. They let that dude put on a ballet not that long ago.
No shit. No shit.
The RZA's taken over.
Dude, I love that.
Jason Morgan is coming up from Philly so we can go see Wu-Tang on their final tour at the Boston Garden.
It's going to be fantastic for you.
So Boston may well put up another championship banner before I go there to see the Wu-Tang, and oh my God, if they do. We just took down the Magic in 5 games. We beat them 4 out of 5 games, and in the last game we beat them by like 30 points, and we were down at the half. It looked bad at halftime. I had to sign up for YouTube for Premium and
I love
NBA,
that shit.
and then
Dude, here's why YouTube Premium is better. Tangent. Live concerts.
It's really good.
Live
it's
concerts.
Really good.
If there's live stuff from the past, in the past, you can go and find it.
I could afford that 2 weeks ago.
Dude, it's worth it. I don't use any other music app. I just save everything to one big ass playlist, and then I hit shuffle.
I see. You have YouTube. I keep up with your YouTube.
No
page.
shit. I got a fan. Hey man, I'm your fan too. I think you should be more active on YouTube. I think you should make statements.
There's a thing
I've
going
heard
on
that
with
only
how
old
this
men,
works,
like YouTube. You're right. I don't want to get cycled into any of the other stuff.
I don't even want what the young
people
are doing.
Let me ask you a question. I want to do
what the ancient druids were doing.
Let me ask you a question. I want to do what Alan's doing.
Vinyl and make zines.
Do you remember when you pitched the idea to me? Kevin teaches Justin Twitter. And I would just go to famous people and try to say really weird things to them. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
So you pitched this idea to me to join Twitter, say bizarre things to celebrities. That was your idea.
You realize that's a whole occupation now.
Right. But we never did it, and Twitter would have been the perfect vehicle for that.
Mm. Not anymore. It's too late.
Oh, would have. Yeah, I said would have. No, I'm
Yeah,
not thinking. I'm not thinking we should do the idea at all.
I
That's
still
not what I'm
scroll
saying.
Twitter. I know what's going on
No,
there.
no, I'm not saying
I will
we
be
should
on
do
that
any of
shit
that shit.
till it sinks.
I remember how close we were to producing that little TV series of like us, you taking me to the famous people and me just saying the weirdest things I can to them.
Yo.
Yeah.
Well, because you used to have this thing where you were like, no, I don't even know how to put this. So the part of the difference between you and me back in the day when we were young men is that I was willing to just walk up on people and drop my nuts down.
Yeah.
And you thought that was hilarious.
I
And
still do. I still do. Yeah, I
and
still
the
do.
fact that you thought it was hilarious
Encourage
made me
you
want
to do it more.
Because I
It's a
like it. I
cycle.
love getting a laugh out of you.
I think you just
You know?
described a toxic relationship.
Oh, codependent as fuck, motherfucker. But at the same time, in the modern sociological landscape, do you know how rare it is for two men our age to have a heterosexual friendship for this long? Because man, I gotta tell you, I have no interest in fucking you.
No,
I think you're an
same.
attractive man.
Fucking
I think you
same.
do well with the
And
ladies.
it has
all
never
good.
at once crossed my
Whatever.
mind.
At no point.
Like 0 times have I been
No.
hanging out with you and thought, I want to kiss this cracker.
If we were gay, we would have put out 4 Kraftwerk records by now.
We could have a villa somewhere.
Different thing.
Dude, we can have cats with little wall walkers. We'll have little shelves just for the cats, and then they'll go outside in a chicken wire tube, and they'll go around the house.
I firmly believe that when I am 60 years old and move back to North Carolina and I take short money up here and turn it into an acre in a plantation house,
you should buy some Bitcoin for sure.
So cheap. No, absolutely not. Dude, smartest decision I made in the last 3 months, other than walking away from this job, was they offered me a 401k, and I was like, nah, bad investment. I'm gonna buy $3 grand worth of synth gear and wait for the tariffs to make all that shit. Dude, that $300 drum machine I bought, all that.
Hey, where did you buy that from?
It's a Behringer.
Yeah, but where'd you buy it from?
Oh, fucking Sweetwater.
Yeah.
But at the end
the guy
of the
that
day,
you thanked
it's
in your
a German company,
Behringer, sure,
and built in China because Uli Behringer owns a whole city in China.
It's a lot of tariffs.
That drum machine is going to be like $450 next year.
You can flip them.
To sell it,
Hey, I think I lost. I lost like 2,500 on Bitcoin, and if I would have held it right now, it would be worth.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was years ago.
Hey,
Bob got me into it. He talked me into that shit.
Because you disappeared out of my radar for a while, and I bet that's when it happened.
Yeah. Yep.
All good. It happens.
All good.
It's happened a few times. It just so happened that when I first moved to Massachusetts, I was like, hey, yo, this shit's nuts. I tried to call you a couple times, and I could not get through to you, and I was like, man, I really need a leveling right now, because I am overwhelmed.
Yeah. You need that dry-ass slow talk. I want to make music like that. I want to do the slow blues track. I want to play that opium level of chill, and I want you to play lead over it. I want you to put on a distortion, and I want it to be your lead guitar track, and I play everything behind it.
I don't own a distortion, but I have a slapback delay, and my amp has an overdrive.
That'll work.
And I bet I can get there. Because you know how I do. And I bought, dude, so
get a little stereo spread on it.
Right before I left Concord back in the day, I sold the Yamaha JX50B to
keyboard. Keyboard?
No, my big brown amp. The
Yeah.
Yamaha JX50B.
Oh God, I remember that amp.
It was heavy as shit,
Heavy
and
as
it's
shit.
muddy, but it kicks like.
Yeah.
But
Super muddy. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
sold it to Millaway because Millaway loves that muddy dirt ass shit, and he bought it for like $200.
Sweet.
And I threw like an extra 100 on it and went down to Mullis and bought a Fender Rumble 40-watt amp
Perfect.
that weighs like less than a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
And it's like a 10-inch speaker, and it's light as shit,
Gnarly.
and it's got it's got nothing except onboard overdrive, and I really
Sure. Hey,
it's
check
where
this
the
out.
bass line for None of These Days came
Check
from.
it.
That's straight out of
That's
the
out of
amp
the Rumble with the bass. Cool.
into a Shure.
Yeah, sure.
And the echo was coming out of the Tascam,
Well,
but
check this out.
everything else is pure amp.
Distort your amp, mic it, get it correctly positioned, and then use that onboard Tascam. Hit it with the reverb.
Oh, you think I can't play some blues guitar?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking for. That's what I'm asking for.
Slow.
I want to hear your take on a 145 12 bar.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make it.
You know, I've spent about the last decade and a half of my life having you and Kevin Morgan being like, "Do not write a 12-bar blues song."
No, I wasn't then, but I kind of am now. Particularly minor, like slow minor blues.
We grow and we realize why it's awesome.
Hey, I didn't like Radiohead in the day, like 90s.
You figured it out later.
Way later, yeah, but then I did figure it out. Carry on.
The best thing I ever recorded, hands down, is 846.
Nah, not by far, man. That's not the best.
Man, my guitar work on it was epic.
It was great.
It sounded great. And you duetted with me. Like, it was a pure duet where you and I are just trading notes.
Dude, what did I get? I got 3 takes out.
beautiful.
I got 3 takes out of that. Is that what that was? I played through 3 times thinking it was the one, and it took me a minute to fall in the groove.
You played through like 2 or 3, and every time you were like, nope, back it up. Yeah. And then when we got that last take, it was just like, there's a part when I go to the wah. After like 5.5 minutes, when I drop into the wah, it's like you and I are playing the exact same notes, like we were doing it on stage.
I haven't listened to that. I haven't listened to that in years.
That was my last best
You should put
record.
it. You should put just that song. Look, you should take just that song and put it on YouTube in your best rendering. Maybe send it into the mixer. Get some EQ if you need to.
Is that our echoes? I own the.
I want
all the rights to it.
I want to have it and hear what it sounded like, and then like it's basically Maggot Brain Homes. Like, and it does it like it.
I mean,
I'm not saying that's
on
bad.
The shoulders of giants, dude.
Yeah.
It's how we do this.
It's basically Maggot
Stairway
Brain.
to Heaven is basically that. Like,
and we also did None of These Days, which you played good bass on. I liked it.
Well, part of the thing is this: like Ed Sheeran got sued for that song where he's like,
"We're not trying to sell any of this. We don't give a fuck about selling."
And here's the thing: like, I'm
0
gonna
copies.
sell it, but not in a way that we're gonna make any money. What I'm gonna do is go to local print shops, put my own money on the line, and have them print up vinyl, and then pump it out into mom and pop Boston record shops, and then just be okay with that.
That is cool.
Because that's how Velvet Underground records happened back in the day.
Message in a bottle. You're like, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it out there, and that's how the world's gonna know me.
I am too old to be Sabrina Carpenter. Like,
Carpenter.
My kids aren't big enough.
Sexist. You're saying some sexist shit now.
No, I'm really not. I'm
That's
making that
Lascivious
joke of not only is she super talented, but also like she's hot in a way that I am a dude.
You know what period of music I like is like before video was popular and people like Janis Joplin, not a pretty lady. They could get they could rise because of the actual talent.
That was the whole thing.
Just the audio.
Man, even with my fucked up teeth, I'm still pretty, and the fucked up teeth give me some authenticity. I'm not worried about it. And
No.
seeing you in the camera a bunch tonight, I know you're trying to get that spot on your face looked at and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah, yeah.
But if it ain't toxic, that's some Lemmy shit right there. You still
Nah,
look like Thor. It's just time to grow
nah.
your hair back out.
Perhaps. Definitely gonna do the face. It's gonna be cool to have a scar. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to that
I
up and
have
down
a
scar.
few facial scars.
Yeah,
It's
but this
cool.
one's gonna be pronounced, almost like a. It'll be cool in 20 years when I'm homeless and I'm a grifter. And I just
You and me
move
both,
from
dude.
town
I
to
have one on
town.
my eyebrow where I'm gonna be really glad. Well, look, if so part of me, the
If we
reason
become
I'm still,
homeless, dude, we
the
would have so much fun
reason
homeless.
I've already
we,
had fun
dude,
homeless with you. I
if we
have
just
lived with you
gave
when
up
I
on
was
it,
homeless a few times.
dude, if we just
Like,
like if we leaned into it, say around 60, 65, if everything went south,
yeah, yep.
yeah, we'll
And you and
go
I
live
were
under
like
bridges, man.
kung
We'll go,
fu. The legend
dude. We'll
continues.
go off
Like,
the grid completely, like off the grid. A
the
typing machine
problem
for both
is,
of us, and acoustic guitars, and a donkey to
Justin,
carry all of it.
the problem is you and I fundamentally understand how 12-volt circuitry works,
Yeah, so we'll
and
have a job.
because of what humanity has built,
Yeah.
even in the case of a total systemic failure, we are going to be inherently useful.
You know, I will
Because
say
you and
that
I and our donkey and our guitars will be roaming across the plain in the desert, and
fixing
we'll be
people's shit.
like, we'll be eating some canned beans around the fire one night, being like, I
Hobo.
hope we come up on the town real quick. And
Guns.
when we
We'll have
roll up
guns.
on the town the next day, oh, we'll definitely
Fuck,
have
you know, we're
guns.
strapped. Totally
Um,
strapped.
Hey, 6 string on the back, a katana, and a 6 gun. Six
What
gun
six
Ronin,
string
dude.
on my back?
It's the 6 gun Ronin. I
There you
just
go.
recorded a whole
All
LP's
right.
worth of instrumentals that
So,
someday will be hip hop sampling legend.
hey, I read that Generation Z or millennials are actually leaning into trades. It's like more of them are skipping college and going straight into learning something and going to do
Which
it.
is
I was really
which
proud of
is
that
cool,
statistic.
but a little bit of a problem because we've been
So
rolling
you gotta
back on
babysit those
teaching.
fuckers.
Well, we've been rolling back on teaching them. Okay, so I had a kid who was in high school when the pandemic hit. And there is a problem within sophomore year, the high school no longer being like, so this is history, this is English, this is math. So they can come back to me and I can be like, yeah, but also this. And
Right.
then they're like, oh, now I rule
So
at
what
it.
happened in the
Like it
pandemic?
got weird.
It became entertainment time, or
Well, when the public schools came back from pandemic, they came back on an entire generation that didn't know how to read.
yeah,
They
yeah,
only
you're right.
knew screens.
You're right. You're absolutely
And
right. There's a
the
gap there. Maybe
problem
that was the
is,
plan. That's why it was released. So
you
you're gonna
know,
have this distinction between two groups of people. We'll be
I
able to
don't
pick them
even
out.
disagree with that. Hey, I just realized I have a physical copy of Nietzsche's Beyond Good and Evil
I
in
do
my
too.
house.
Yeah, I actually have that one. Yep. Tough read. Like he doesn't. He's tough. He's a thinker. The fucker's a
I
thinker.
I read Beyond Good and Evil in my high school Bible teacher's class.
Oh, oh yeah, that chick. Yeah.
Frau Steins.
Do you remember?
She was also my German teacher. Like, fucking meine Hosen sind voll mit Obst und Gemüse. Her class is where I learned it.
Fantastic, man. Hey, we've been at this a while, man. I think it might be it for me. I enjoyed our hangout, Doc.
Dude, we just hung out at the bar till closing time. I had a great time with you, man. I appreciate it.
Likewise, man. I'll
All
talk to
right,
you
bud.
soon, okay? See you, man.
Yes, sir. I'll drop some tracks on you tomorrow. I'm gonna loop up that, figure out how to record that guitar part. That's my Saturday. I'll have it to you
I'm gonna
by like
mechanical.
afternoon.
I'm gonna change the order of these pedals and get what I want, how I want.
Shit, yeah, man.
Shit, yeah.
Jams,
Jams.
jams.
I'll talk to you
All
soon.
right, bud. Yes, sir. Peace.
Yeah, okay.